on a Tuesday? How we're looking on a Tuesday? Bill Michaels Show, Tuesday edition. Thanks for hanging out with us. We certainly appreciate you. Very much so. Brewers back at it tonight in the Big Apple. Packers continue to get ready for LaFleur number 2 to come a-calling. You got the Big Ten making a statement. News and notes in the NFL. The NFL is, as we all know, it's an ever-growing formation of something. It always regerminates and grows into something different than what we thought it would be, even at the beginning of the season or during OTAs. But now you've got all the storylines are starting to shape up. I want to talk about some of the things today that are the most intriguing going into the NFL season regarding, I apologize, I got kind of a cold. I've been working in the yard. I got the landscapers here today, and there's whatever's in the air has got me, man. It just threw me to the ground today. So I apologize right off for some of the sniffing that may go on. No, I'm not sitting here doing wild drugs. I'm just trying to breathe to get through the show. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about a lot of storylines because some of them, they're legit. Some of them are good storylines. Some of them are intriguing to me. Some of them are overplayed, hype, total pantload crap, but I'm intrigued in all of it. But I'm intrigued by all of it. So I want to get into that today. How are we looking on a Tuesday? You want to chime in? You can. We always encourage you to do so. Please do. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means, go ahead and do it. 877-867-1670. You can track us down via text message, 608-321-1670. Today's going to be a great day because first hour, it's just us. And then after that, we got Chuck Freimund going to be joining us, talk some Brewers. Last hour of the program today, Mike Clemens is going to be here, talk some Packers. But if you want to chime in via text message, 608-321-1670. You can watch us each and every day over on YouTube. Excuse me. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can subscribe 100% free. I know some people said they got charged, but you don't get charged for that. So you got to be careful what you hit. But just go there, open up an account. Boom. Next thing you know, you're on. You're watching us. How are we looking? You can also track us down on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Grant is at Wisco Grant. Our app is named after Grant, Wisco Sports Zone. That's Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. We are on Facebook, on Instagram. You can hear the meter behind me bouncing back and forth. I don't know who's playing with it today, but that's okay. That means you have some power in the program. So the Instagram meter behind me and TikTok as well. The Bill Michaels Show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find us on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. Catch the television show, 8 o'clock Central Time. That is Saturday nights in Milwaukee, 8 o'clock Central Time. That is on my 24 TV. That is my 24 TV in Milwaukee. So some of the storylines that I think are interesting are obviously, the number one thing is whether or not you're even going to be able to repeat as a champion, and that's Seattle. And Seattle's lost a few defenders off of a really good defense from last year. The Rams, obviously, with what they're doing and then the Aaron Donald situation and such, that's relatively intriguing. So you got that. I don't really need to hear the name Shedeur Sanders anymore, but I do find it fascinating what's going on with Deshaun Watson and the angst with the fans over there in Cleveland. I find that interesting. I'm intrigued by Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers teaming up for one last hurrah. I mean, that to me is an intriguing situation as well. So that's something that I find fascinating. What else is there? Obviously, Dallas has really kind of stockpiled some defenders in the offseason. How good is Dallas going to be? Scatterbo coming back for New York, the coaching changes that have gone on, whether or not Harbaugh is going to be able to take the Giants and make something out of them, what Philadelphia is going to have life after A.J. Brown is now gone. Is A.J. Brown going to bring the drama to New England? Can New England be as good as they were last year with the offseason drama that took place with all of the Vrabel, Diana Rossini stuff going on? Buffalo's got a new head coach. So who went from being an offensive coordinator to the head coach, and they seem to have this and going into Highmark Stadium that received very low marks for their crowd friendliness when it comes to the place itself, the new stadium itself. Miami's got a new head coach. They got Malik Willis. I'm going to be paying attention over the fence there, obviously. You got Baltimore with a new head coach. So there's just so many. Can Patrick Mahomes come back and be Patrick Mahomes all over again and do another run with Travis Kelce alongside, who I don't care what Andy Reid said. Travis Kelce, look, I'm not shaming in any way. He came into camp fat. If you look at his pictures from a couple of years ago versus where he came into camp recently, he got married. He's got a joyous life. He's out traveling the world with, Taylor Swift and, apparently enjoying a lot of good meals. But he came in fat. Looked like he was gasping for air in a couple of those workouts because he was out of shape. So apparently hobnobbing around the world is not great for a football player when it comes to, being in shape and getting ready. What is Las Vegas going to do with Fernando Mendoza? Is he going to be – he's not going to be the starter. It's going to be Kirk Cousins, but what are they going to do? How are they going to be? Can Harbaugh finally get Herbert over the top out in L.A. with the Chargers? Will San Francisco get healthy enough to make any kind of a run? Who is going to be some kind of a team that comes out and puts their stamp on the NFC South? Obviously, all the intrigue in the NFC. There's so much good storyline stuff this year in the NFL, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So much good stuff going on. There you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. We would love to hear from you. 877-867-1670. Find us there, and we'd love to have you on. So, there you go. Grant Bills, how the hell are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing excellent today. I settled in last night hoping to watch the Cubs lose, and that was kind of the goal for my night. And then the Cubs won, and wasn't all that particularly close. So I watched some Everybody Love Raymond reruns on TV Land and went to bed early. So I had a pretty good night last night, the Brewers night off. And we are getting, as I kind of started to touch on my show last night, and you're hitting it in your open, we are getting very close to football. The point where some of these stories are starting to feel very real, which is exciting because we can talk about the NFL's biggest storylines in July.
Right.
But until it's like a week or two away, whether it's either college or pros, like it doesn't really start to feel real, and it doesn't really interest me like it is this week.
Yeah, it is. It's starting to shape up, and I'm because you're not going to see many starters play in this game this coming weekend. So it's kind of like you're just looking to see who makes the back ends of some of these rosters. So all the other storylines are pretty much set, and you just kind of know what interests you. I think my biggest interest outside of the Green Bay Packers is watching over the fence to see what Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers do, just because of our connection to them. That's one of them. But there's just so many more when you start to really kind of get into the NFL. And I was listening to some of the NFL podcasts over the last 24 hours. And I told you the landscapers are here and they're finishing up today. And I was just sitting out back last night and just going over things and doing some yard work. And I had my headset on as I was doing it. And I'm just listening to all these different podcasts. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's going on. Oh, yeah, they've got a new head coach. Oh, yeah, they've got this. Oh, yeah, can Justin Herbert be this? What's going on in Jacksonville? Can you see anything, any life out of a team that was on the come? I mean, the Titans are still going to be bad. Indianapolis with Daniel Jones coming back from the Achilles. I mean, is he going to be out? So there's so many different things that you kind of tend to forget about all the stuff that's actually out there. So that's why I thought, let's bring it up today. What's some of the most intriguing things outside of obviously the Green Bay Packers? Because we know the Packers are, first and foremost. But what else are some of the most intriguing things? Because the NFL is an all-consuming beast. So I thought that's kind of cool. Let's get into that. So I want to do that today. By the way, for those that did not know, the Big Ten has made it very clear after the whole situation that has gone on in college football. The Big Ten is set to pass a rule today that does not allow players to return from the NFL and play for one of the schools. Any player who was declared from the NFL draft and did not withdraw prior to the draft and appeared on an NFL roster or signed with a contract is no longer allowed to come back and play college football for the Big Ten. So Cleveland's DeQuan Wright, New Orleans, Xavier Harris, parting with their respective teams. They're going to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin. And that's got a lot of people up in arms. Wright and Harris both played for Kiffin at Ole Miss. And they're going to return to college football thanks to a court order that's creating havoc right now throughout the NCAA by allowing athletes and the unexpected fifth-year eligibility to happen. So the players can regain their college eligibility if they terminate their pro contracts and repay any pro earnings. So the NCAA, the ballless NCAA said in their statement that rulings which grant the fifth-year eligibility, they are having a destabilizing effect on college sports right now. But we'll get into all of that coming up a little bit later on. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips told ESPN that his conference plans to discuss the topic this week. Kiffin is defending LSU's unprecedented moves, but Lane Kiffin is a drama-filled, job-hopping SOB to begin with. We all know that. The SEC, however, issued a statement yesterday emphasizing its belief that the athletes who choose to leave college and sign professional contracts should not then be permitted to return to college competition. But that's the SEC, and that's where Lane Kiffin is. He's fighting that. So there's a lot going on in college sports right now in that realm.
Well, did you see what your guy, Ryan Day, said about this? I bookmarked it yesterday, and this is before we got the Big Ten ruling on, players turning pro, coming back to college. But the quote was, if there are teams that are going to have players out there cut from NFL rosters to be on other teams, we have to at least consider it and look at it. Do I like anything about it? Absolutely not. But we got to do what's right for Ohio State. Now, this won't be a problem in the Big Ten, but I think that's the problem in college ball.
Right.
There's lots of coaches that hate what they're doing, but they feel like, well, if we don't do this, we're disadvantaged compared to everybody else.
Correct. I wonder how Ryan Day feels about a salary cap. I don't like it, but it's right at a disadvantage. He'd do it in a heartbeat. There's not a lot. He won a national title, but there's not a lot of people at Columbus that like him anyway. He's somewhat arrogant. He's great to boosters. I've heard a lot of positive things. It's just there's this something about him. There's an unlikable tenor to him. I don't know what it is. He's always looking out for the program. He's always looking to win. We appreciate that, but I don't know. There's something there.
Would people feel that way if he always beat Michigan, for example?
Oh, people love the fact that he's considering it because it keeps them on top. We got to consider it. Yeah, because if Lane Kiffin suddenly starts whooping your ass on a regular basis and winning championships and you're not, then we got to consider it. Anything within the legal bounds, anything that's going to push the legality, anything that's going to walk up to the gray line, fans are for it if you're winning. But we're all behind the scenes going, please make a rule that these guys can't do this. Please make a ruling that this fifth-year eligibility crap, unless you have to redshirt medically, that we get rid of this crap, that the COVID rules are gone and all this stuff. So it's bad. It's a bad look. It's become completely stained with money. And I get it. Kids needed to be paid. Kids needed money. It's not just about the education anymore. I understand it. You got these greedy ass people that are making millions and millions of dollars deciding who is going to make money and who isn't when it comes to college athletics, and basically saying, no, you're a student athlete, and I'm going to make all the money you're not off of your back. I think sucked. And all they had to do was give in and say, we're going to spread the wealth. And instead they were greedy bastards and they tried to take it all and they got effed. They took it right in the rear end. And now they have nobody to blame but themselves. And so the NCAA and the conferences are all, I don't know, maybe Congress can help us. And Congress has now said, nah, we're gonna pass on this. We think what you're doing sucks, but you're going to need to figure this out. Because if we make a ruling and then suddenly the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC decide to secede from all of this, well, then we don't have a governing body to begin with. So we can't make it an NCAA thing. So they've said, I don't think this is going to really be our bag right now. So now coaches are back to complaining. Well, if you're going to complain, go complain to the presidents of your conferences, and then give power back to the NCAA to say, this is our ruling, this is our power. And then we would have a much better governing body instead of all the ballish chaps out there that all they want is to wrap their arms around as much money as they can possibly make, tell everybody to suck it, and then they complain about it when things go awry. When fans are nothing but upset about it. So it just, I sit back and I smile and I watch the ruination of college athletics because of greed. And that's what it is. And now everybody's pointing fingers, and it's just, you just sit back and laugh and go, You caused this. It's your problem. It's your mess. And now you want to argue about it? You want to point fingers? Go to hell. You've screwed up college athletics so bad you don't deserve any of it. And I love watching college football. But I know it's blatantly unfair anymore, but I still love watching it. So I guess I'm part of the problem, because as long as I watch it and as long as I talk about it, and as long as we support it, and as long as we pimp it to say it's the greatest thing ever and look at the rivalries and this was need to happen and these people need to win games and blah, 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 then we're keeping people's interests and we're part of the problem. So I don't know what else to do. Is that a fair dissertation of everybody just being an SOB?
Yeah, greedy. I also think the NCAA right now is probably on some level, they're lazy. Why do they feel the need to fix anything?
Right.
Money's still coming in, television contracts, they're still getting money. Like,
right.
It's not really their problem. You know what I mean? These schools have got to figure out how to pay these players, or don't. We could give a damn. The television money's still going to come in. So I think it's greed for sure, but it's also just disinterest in fixing what everybody perceives to be a problem, but they might not feel that way.
No,
whenever the money's coming in, it's a mess, sure, but what does that matter to us? It's not our problem.
You don't complain about it until it goes against you. Like when we sit here and complain about the Badgers and the payroll, we do it because Ryan Day is going to the business community asking for $60+ million when we're just trying to get over 20 to 30. We complain about it when there's going to be a team out there, such as a Lane Kiffin-led LSU team or an Ohio State team or a Penn State team or an Oregon team that's going to have the first $100 million payroll. And we're going to go, this is ridiculous. We need to get more money for the Badgers. You know, I mean, that's going to be our issue, is we're going to complain about it because we're on the losing end of it. You know, it's like, hey, Dodgers fans aren't complaining about salary caps. They don't care. They're out there buying players. We do, because we're getting screwed. So, but for the betterment of the sport, college athletics completely different than pro athletics at this point, in the sense of the conferences and all the different teams and the levels. And anyway, I feel like I'm peeing into a fan where I'm just, I'm spewing all my stuff, but it's going to just basically not mean anything. It's just I'm going to eat my own words because I'm part of the problem. So
it's mostly what the job is, 10 to 2 or 4 to 6 or 6 to 10 with you, but you just pee into a fan.
Yep.
You hope that it's an entertaining pee and that people listen and people enjoy it.
Yep.
It's basically what it is.
Right, exactly. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Anyway, I want to get, you can talk about that. I want to get into what intrigues you the most outside of the Green Bay Packers going into this NFL season. That's what I'd like to know. What are your thoughts on all of that? Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The reaction is I did not know that. I don't know when those came out, and that's the beautiful thing about being in fall camp. And again, I know what our job is, and our job is to put a product out there that everybody wants to be able to see and win. And so whatever that means for everybody outside of things, it is what it is. You know, the beautiful thing is these guys know about everything that's going on in the world today because everything is pretty instant to what they're doing. That hasn't been one thing that's come up in a leadership meeting or something that we've worried about. Because we've said, hey, let's just make sure no matter what the situation, no matter what noise are out there, we control the things we can control. And the biggest thing is what's between our own ears. And if you build it, they will continue to come.
Welcome back in. Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tonight, you got Brewers back in the tube, which is awesome. Get some things done around the house, the yard by tomorrow. Really later on tonight. Should be pretty much done. And the landscaper guys are doing a fantastic job finishing things up and just all the things that I just couldn't get to this year. And I know that's just an excuse-making pound of lazy ass, but it seemed like the whole summer just got away from me. And usually I am meticulous about my yard and landscape. And I think part of it was because the road out front was just tearing everything up. And you just look at it and go, what's the point? And maybe that was it. Maybe it was kind of mental laziness. But they have come in and done a fantastic job. So tonight, I mean, I got some running around to do. But tonight I'm kind of hoping to get back in time to do a little grilling out tonight. Sit down and watch the Brewers game tonight. Just enjoy the patio and go, Tiki Bar TV is going to be on. Maybe a beverage. But a little grilling tonight. Went down to Robert's yesterday afternoon. Robert's Specialty Meats. I picked up two, because Kristen wanted one too. So I picked up 2 New York strip steaks, and I still have the pre-made burgers that are in the freezer. So I'm going to throw something on tonight. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to sit back and enjoy myself tonight. If you're going to be doing any tailgating, you're getting ready for football season, maybe going up to Lambeau on Friday night, whatever it happens to be, we know that grilling season is all year round in Wisconsin, and there is no better place other than your hometown butcher. That's Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha. Go to robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. They got everything, whether it's the ribs on a stick, the Al Capone roasts, the Al Capone sausages, the pre-made burgers, the garlic parm chicken skewers that they have are just the unbelievable cuts of meat when it comes to steaks and chops. They got something for everybody. That's right there. Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha.com. robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com. So what is the most intriguing story right now for you as we get into football season? Now, you just heard Luke Fickell talking about the decrease in Badger season ticket sales, which you go to the college side of things and you do the NFL side of things. But I got to be honest, Grant, when you read that there's this decrease in season ticket sales, I wasn't shocked by that.
No, not at all. I just know we were mentioning a little bit about the Big Ten and
right.
The Badgers opener's coming up. So I kind of threw that into the show, but that's something Luke Fickell talked about over the weekend. I don't know that I could give you one storyline I'm most interested in. I feel like I have a lot of little small ones. Like, I'll throw a couple at you. Like, does Fernando Mendez, is he any good? Like, I'm interested to see that.
Right.
I kind of feel like the Giants might suck again. I'm interested to see that because I feel like for the third or fourth straight year, the Giants got it figured out. Probably not. I feel like they probably haven't. Like, what are the Niners going to look like when they're healthy? I'm afraid that there might be 3 or 4 teams in the NFC, like the Lions, the Niners. You're like, oh boy, the Packers are really going to have their work cut out for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Lions and their training camp so far. So that's another team or story that I'm really interested in. And
you can go with any of that. I mean, it's obviously in the division stuff that we're going to be paying attention to. And there's no doubt about that. I'm intrigued by, there's just so much I could go on. I think that there's going to be I don't think the 2 teams that went to the Super Bowl last year, I don't even think they make it back to an AFC or an NFC championship game. Both of them.
Big time fall off for both the Seahawks and the Pats.
Correct. I think the Seahawks, because they lost some pieces in the secondary. They had a miraculous season. Jackson Smith and Jigba already started out with a little bit of a hamstring issue. Now, if he gets that corrected, then he should be back and no problem. But we know that he was sidelined a little bit early on in camp, and they're worried about that because that thing can crop back up. We all know that. And then if it does, it's usually twice as bad. So I don't think either team. I think with what went on in the offseason with Mike Vrabel and may still be going on behind the scenes. I mean, don't get me wrong. They picked up, A.J. Brown, but we all know A.J. Brown, who just seems to be having this wonderful camp and everything is just wonderful with him. And but I just don't know. I don't know what he's going to bring, So anyway, there's so much there that, and again, with Buffalo, obviously they picked up DJ Moore in the offseason, but they still have Keon Coleman and James Cook as a running back. But we know that they've got a new head coach and Brandon Beane or Joe Brady, I should say. Brandon Beane's their general manager, and he's on board with Brady apparently. And now Pete Carmichael Jr. is going to be their offensive coordinator. I'm fascinated to see what Jim Leonhard does with that defense. How good will they be? Because they're going to need to be good. But because Jim Leonhard was a guy that, many people thought might come back to the Green Bay Packers, and they didn't even call him. They said, hey, spurn us once, talk to you later, So a lot of people wanted to see Jim Leonhard come back, and that didn't happen. So I want to see what his defense does. And like I mentioned in New England, with A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs is now gone there, So we know that they've bolstered their wide receiving core, but we know A.J. Brown can be a detriment if he doesn't get the ball, and whether or not Drake May is going to be good. And, there's so many things, I think, with teams all over that are creating storylines. But again, I think the most intriguing things to me, Pittsburgh is going to be one of them. Dallas is going to be another, because Jerry Jones, I don't want to say he got it right, but at least he's getting better at it. Now, a pissed off George Pickens may have an all-time career year. Who knows? Because he's playing for another contract. They seem to be really high on Rashawn Gary. I'm not nearly as high on Rashawn Gary, but I think that Rashawn Gary will get better with Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams up front, and Von Miller obviously coming back and playing for the hometown team and his childhood team. And he's just completely thrilled to be there. Last time we saw Von Miller, I mean, he was still, 9.5 sacks a season, which is nothing to sneeze at. And he can be just a specialist pass rush kind of guy, but per snap down what he got last year versus this year coming in, he was one of the more productive guys per snap. So I think he's still got gas in the tank. And if they bolster that defense, who knows how good they can be.
Can I throw another one at you?
Go ahead.
And again, I don't think there's any huge ones, but this is why the NFL is great, is there's a million things I'm interested in. What if the Bengals stink this year?
No.
What if the Bengals stink? What if they win 5 or 6 games and Joe Burrow's banged up again? You tell me that Joe Burrow isn't going to request a trade this offseason, or be unhappy, or that they're going to fire the coach, or try to do something big? Like, that's a big domino. If the Bengals stink this year and Joe Burrow feels like his career's going nowhere, I don't know. I know the Rams just drafted Ty Simpson and Stafford's still good, but like, what team out there, maybe the Vikings would look to flip a couple of first-round picks to go get Joe Burrow? Like, that's a big domino that could fall.
Now remember, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Taylor's in the last year of his contract, their head coach down there.
Yes.
And they don't give extensions right away.
And they don't fire coaches with years left on their deal.
Correct.
They don't
That's
like
why
them,
this would be the year that he would get fired if they're going to fire him. So that's a great question. Can Jamar Chase and T. Higgins stay healthy? They've seemingly have a decent offensive line, or at least a better offensive line. They drafted Connor Liu this year. center. They drafted Brian Parker this year to try to give him a little bit of depth, but they still kind of have, Ted Karras and who's the other guy? Dalton Reisner. Big Orlando Brown, I think is still their left tackle, but I don't know what to make of it. And their defense absolutely sucked. Remember, they went out and got Dexter Lawrence in that trade with the Giants.
That's right. I forgot about that. Good pull.
So that was a big deal down there, and they're excited about their defense, but they just haven't looked that great. And it's not like Dexter Lawrence is coming in and setting the world on fire. And that's the difference. When you go to Cincinnati, AJ Hawk said it. It's like you go from the corporate world where you have expectations and development, and then you go down there and it's like playing at a high school because it's just the mom and pop shop that the Browns run it as. So we'll see. We'll see what they do down there. And if Joe Burrow is happy, a happy Joe Burrow is a deadly Joe Burrow. And they kept Joe Flacco for a backup just in case because they need security there. So that's a good call. Obviously, I get sick of the Browns because the Browns are really an irrelevant team. The only thing that people are talking about is Shedeur Sanders for whatever reason. And Shedeur Sanders was never a great quarterback, and then, he was pimped and hyped by his dad. Like he's the best thing that's ever taken a snap under center. And he's just not that great.
Can I read you a tweet that I saw from a Vikings guy yesterday?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gary Treeman, he's a funny follow. He tweeted about the Browns announcing Deshaun Watson as their starter. He said, the Vikings quarterback room has been really depressing, but imagine if they were all Max Brosmer and one of them was a serial rapist and he won the competition and you also paid him $230 million.
Right. That's the truth.
And remember, they spent a 3rd-round pick last year on Dylan Gabriel, and he's worse than both of these guys.
Yeah.
Like, he's nowhere. He's not even a factor in this quarterback competition.
Right.
Like, oh, man, what a mess.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's in there. Basically, people are saying that they're hoping to get some wins for Todd Monken, the new head coach.
People seem to like him.
They love Todd Monken. They're shocked at the decision to give Deshaun Watson the starting job, and Deshaun Watson then comes out and rips the fans for booing him. I mean, it's a mess over there.
He ripped the fans on Friday or Saturday or something, and I think a lot of the reporter follow-up was, guys, you got to trade him. He can't be like this. Has to be the end. And then the next thing that happens is they name him the starter.
Right. Because they looked at how bad does Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel have to be to say this guy who is accused of doing so many things impropriety-wise with women and to women that he can't stay healthy. They're paying him a ton of money. They completely made a mistake, but he's got to be our starter. How bad do you have, and he ripped the fans, how bad do you have to suck not to be called the starter of the Cleveland Browns? It's embarrassingly bad. So that's a storyline. That's not even they're not even an NFL team. And oh, by the way, they got rid of Myles Garrett. Oh, by the way, their defense, no, they picked up Jared Verse. Remember, they got him in that trade. That was probably the high point of the trade, but Jared Verse is not Myles Garrett. So that's a mess over there. There's just so much right now in the NFL you look at and you go, this is all fascinating stuff. And for whatever reason, we can remember almost all the rosters of every team in the NFL because of all the moves and all the soap opera stuff that's gone on. And because we focus on, like, you talk about this in the NBA, some people go, yawn. Major League Baseball, long season, yawn. But NFL, we're chomping at the bit. We can't get enough of it. So 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. What is tripping the trigger for you as we now go into another NFL season? Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming. It is a Taco Tuesday out there at Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill. Curly's always got something good going on out there, and today is the Taco Tuesday, as we all know. And you know what that means? It is Free Tab Tuesday. How about that? Tonight, free. They're stacking them up. Free tabs, food, fun, cash, Free Tab Tuesday. If you want a free tab, this is what you do. They draw the winner at 7:00. You go in there, you get yourself something to eat. You're sitting at your table, and the next thing you know, you hear your number called. Like, wait a minute, what table are we? 24. Oh, that's 24. They called out 24. What do we get? Everything you just ate, drank, everything you got, paid for. Done. Just leave a tip. There you go. Plus free darts tonight. And they've got the Brewers on tonight, double ticket day today. The $250 cash raffle winners drawn at 4:30. So that's for all the happy hour people. And happy hour is 3 to 6 and 9 to midnight. They do all kinds of great stuff. That's Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill on Lakeview Boulevard out there in Pewaukee. Tell Ryan and staff we said hi.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Dollar Loan Center. Dollar Loan Center. Dollar Loan Center.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Chuck, what happens if someone applied before and was denied?
Craig, I love this question, and the answer is simple. If you were denied in the past and still looking for a loan, before you go somewhere else and pay way too much, give us another shot. Everyone's situation changes. You may have a cosigner, a new job, a raise, who knows, but we're going to try to help.
I'm telling you, it seems like my credit score goes up and down each month.
Great point. We don't use a traditional credit score at the DLC, and you don't need great credit or collateral. We can also help you consolidate those expensive payday and title loans because we lend way more and charge way less.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by our locations in Janesville, Beloit, and Beaver Dam.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes.
Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I need our people from All Nations Solar Electric. If I could just get them to come to my house, it'd be great. I got a circuit breaker or something. I got where my lights to my house, the outside lights to my house plug in. The circuit's not working. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out. But it appears like the plug itself might be bad. So it'd be great if All Nations Solar Electric were right here in my own backyard. They're not. They're up in the Appleton area, the northeast Wisconsin area. But if you're like me, you're sitting here going, I got something that isn't working. It worked yesterday. It's not working today. I don't know why. That might be something that you would make a phone call on. Get a hold of Greg, who is the master electrician over there at All Nations Solar Electric. And Greg can help you out. He's a man. I wish Greg lived closer. Call him 920-661-7577. Greg, if you're listening and you're in my area for whatever reason, please stop by. But all you got to do is check out Greg and everybody over there. They'd be more than happy to help. And if you need them like I need them, give them a call. They can get out and see you almost right away. I know they're pretty busy, but you're always busy when you're really good at what you do. That's why Greg and the gang over there, the master electricians, 920-661-7577. Maybe you want to go off grid. Be a great way to do it. Call them. allnationssolar.electric.com comes with some tax breaks as well. allnationssolar.electric.com. But if you're like me and you're sitting here going, because last night I got up to go to bed and I looked out back, and it's when my lights aren't on out back, it's like dark, like nighttime Africa dark. Like there's no street lights anywhere. So I had to go outside and turn on the T-bar lights just to put some light out there because of the rest of the lights, the lighting around the patio and everything, and down the walkways was all out last night. So it's kind of eerily dark. So I had to give him a call, give a buddy of mine a call this morning and say, hey, can you come over at some point? And I see that he read my text message, but he has not responded yet. Whereas Greg and the people at All Nations Solar Electric, they'll respond right away and they'll say, here's what we can do. Here's what we can set up. So give them a call, allnationssolar.electric.com. If you're in the, if you're in the Valley area up there in the Appleton area, they can always help you out. The Fox Valley. How about Northeast Wisconsin? There you go. Check them out. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. What are the most intriguing storylines that you're really kind of salivating for as the NFL season is getting set to get underway? What is it? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. This was from Ryan. Ryan said, the most intriguing story I'm watching is whether or not Dan Campbell and the offense can actually get it going. As a Lions fan, I'm hoping that they can. You've been right all along about the line. Ragnow retiring last year seemed to really throw a monkey wrench in that offensive line. Nobody was calling the right blocking schemes, apparently. It took them a little bit of time, but once Dan Campbell took over the play calling, I thought he got too conservative and at times way too greedy, way too greedy, and this offense never got on track. That's one of the most intriguing things to me. Ryan, appreciate the email. Ryan, by the way, listening to us in Grand Rapids, Michigan, just across the pond in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good stuff. And thanks for listening over there, paying attention to this show. Nice. Grandman Mike, I agree that all this sucks with college sports. They don't want pro athletes to return to college football, but it isn't the definition of a professional one who makes money to play the game. College sports is a profession, and that's what's ruined all of this. The money coming in is no longer coming from name, image, and likeness. It's coming from boosters and fundraisers. If I want to watch paid athletes, I'm not watching LSU versus Tulane. I'd rather watch the Browns and the Dolphins. Johnny Cribbage, our buddy there, says bemoaning the poison of money is very funny by supporters of greed and grift. Agreed.
Greed and grift. Can I just say about college football? I brought this up last night.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the end of the world. Look, if I could wave a magic wand and go back to the way it was 10 years ago, I'd do it because it was better. I don't mind if kids get paid. I just need college football to feel like college football. And I know it's not. I know it's professional ball, but you need to keep it needs to still feel collegey. I need to feel like these kids are Badgers or Hawkeyes, and I need to feel that tradition and that if I can still get that thing, and I think that means probably limiting transfers so the kids hang around at a spot a little longer. I don't mind if they're paid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind some of these new modern things. It's just, I think college football is such a special and unique sport. If you start to lose the college part of it, I think that's what's going to kill it, not necessarily the players making money.
No, I would agree. They need to figure out the transfer portal. They need to stop re-recruiting their own guys every year. I think if you get a guy that's a commit, he's allowed to leave once, kind of unfettered. After that, I go back to you got to sit out a year, and you have to pay the money back. You know, so you're going to sit out a year, and you're not going to make any money. So if you're all of a sudden you're making $1 million, and next year you're going to transfer, and half of that money you got to pay back, and then by the way, you've got to sit out a year. I think that's going to eliminate a lot of this. That's just me, but there's so many other things that they need to do that they just won't, because the NCAA and the conferences, they're just so effing greedy. And Pandora's box is now open, and they just can't figure out a way to put it all back together. Not that they ever will again, but they just can't come to an agreement. They just argue to argue because they don't want to cut themselves out of money. So, yeah, right. Stephen Richfield said, when was the last time anybody talked about an academic All-American? Right? I can't remember. If they do, we all go, who cares? You know? This one's out of the 563. Darren and Keeler says, hey, Bill, how about the Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy hookup? I still can't believe they're back together. The way things ended in Green Bay, I thought Aaron basically got Mike fired back then. He did. Things were bad.
It's pretty crazy because walking around the combine, Bill, I can't remember if we talked about this before I went on vacation. It felt like talking to people that there was no chance Rodgers was coming back to Pittsburgh. You talk to people who covered the Packers or covered the league. It was bad. Yeah. Like, it was blood and water at the end, to the point where when I would ask people, hey, you think Rodgers come back? They would laugh. They would laugh it off. It seems so insane. Yeah.
You know who we need to get on the air? Tyler Dunn.
He was one,
because he's the guy that wrote the story that said, hey, Mike's upstairs getting massages, Aaron's downstairs pissed and just mad that Mike's doing his own thing. Mike said that never happened. Other people said yes, it did. I would love to get him on the air and go, can you believe this? Give me your thought. Because and again, it's kind of like a love-hate, because you can say these were the best times in my life. You know, think of a girlfriend or a spouse, best time in my life. And it ends ugly, right? Just ends in just an ugly, ugly fashion. But then the years go by and you soften going, the good times were the best times. And that's kind of when you go, okay, let's put the crap that angered us aside and give this another shot. I can speak to that in the sense of, I got a friend of mine who met a girl years ago. We all hung out together. We all hung out, all our couples. We all hung out together. And something wasn't right. I told him, I said, something's not right here. And I'm starting to put two and two together. And I went to him and I said, I think your girlfriend is with one of our other friends. No. I said, I'm telling you, I got a sneaking suspicion. I'm putting two and two together. I'm pretty sneaky like that. I grew up watching a lot of Rockford Files. So that's a great reference, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah.
So I said, no, I think this is it. And I kind of fashioned myself a Jim Rockford-esque type of driver as well. Like I could do anything with a car. And I said, let's just go wait. Because here's the timing of the way things are. Sure enough, they're together. We catch him coming back into town. She was supposedly going out of town for a work conference. He was going to cover a sporting event. And turns out, found out by happenstance, but I knew it was happening. So fast forward, things get ugly. They thought they were going to outrun me. They never did. Bang. Next thing you know, we catch her with him, the whole deal. So now you go to about 10, 12 years ago. They kind of met up at a bowling night or something. I don't know what it was. They've been together ever since. It ended ugly, but they realized it was kind of the best time in their life. Okay. And now it's bygones be bygones. So it can happen. It can happen. I still know and remember that day in the back of my mind, her getting out of the car, screaming at him, blaming him for catching her. But, oh, well. Yeah, as my friend Mike Vrabel. No. Skinny, no, it's not. That great reference. Great drop in, though. I'll give you one on that one. There you go. Hell yeah, man. Over there in the cheap seats.
There's nothing like love you from the cheap seats.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this. How we looking?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. This portion of the program brought to you by J&L Tire Service. Voted the best out there in Johnson Creek and in Watertown. Boulder Road in Watertown, just above 94 at the Johnson Creek exit. You can find them there as well. And they were so helpful to us when we went to Sturgis and with the trailer situation and getting both trailers ready to go and helping out. Lyle's just such a great guy. We just appreciate them so much. But if you want to work with a company that warranties their work, that can do anything from an oil change on a minivan to changing air brakes on an 18-wheeler, whatever it happens to be, they've got the facilities for both. And they do it with a warranty, and they also give back to the community. The profits that they make, they take a percentage of them every year, and they give them back to the community. And that's the kind of company you want to work with. So they warranty their work, and they're very philanthropic. I can't say enough about what they do. That's J&L Tire and Service Center, jnltire.com. That's jnltire.com. We got an hour down. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk more about this. What are the most intriguing storylines going into the NFL season? And at the bottom of the hour, we've got our buddy Chuck Freimund from the Lockdown Brewers podcast. Brewers are in New York to take on the David Stearns-led, overpaid, overhyped, overpriced Mets. Can the Brewers win yet another series? And at what point, because the Brewers are still 5.5 games up on the Cubs, at what point do we look at the Cubs and go, you're not going to catch them? Not going to happen. What number does it have to be? We'll get into that discussion also. But what storylines most intrigue you going into this NFL season? What storylines intrigue you? Loving it. Give us a shout, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. We got more coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers were back on the field for practice yesterday as they prep for their final preseason game on Friday against the Arizona Cardinals. That team is coached by Mike LaFleur, the brother of Packers coach Matt LaFleur. The brothers are going to be facing off as head coaches for the first time. They'll also hold a joint practice on Wednesday. Matt LaFleur was asked yesterday what it meant to share the field with his brother.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty special. But at the end of the day, we're just looking to try to get good work, on both sides. Certainly always going to prioritize the Green Bay Packers, but if there is another team in the National Football League that I'll be rooting for, it will be the Arizona Cardinals.
Again, it will be Packers and Cardinals on Friday with the joint practice coming on Wednesday. After that, GM Brian Gutekunst and his staff will have to start cutting down their roster to 53 players that will make up their initial team. Turning to the Badgers, they held a lengthy scrimmage yesterday, now less than 2 weeks out from their opener against Notre Dame. They're still trying to figure out who the backup quarterback will be as the fight between freshman Ryan Hopkins and junior Deuce Adams is ongoing.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
The Brewers had yesterday off. That was after dropping the finale of their series against the Atlanta Braves in Williamsonport, Pennsylvania. The Brewers are now in New York tonight. They'll take on the Mets for a 6-10 first pitch. They currently sit 5.5 games above the Cubs for first place in the NL Central with a record of 81-50. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Evo.
Welcome. Bill Michaels Show. Thanks for hanging out today on this Tuesday edition. We certainly appreciate you being here as always. So thank you for hanging out. Oh, there you go. There you go. Appreciate it. You want to chime in? We got all kinds of things we're going to talk about today. 877-867-1670. That's the phone number. Text us 608-321-1670. Text messages coming in. Find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can subscribe absolutely free. Our subscribership is actually up, which is nice. I don't pay attention to that very often. I was just wanting to get it over 5,000. I think we're like 7,200 now, which is kind of cool. Appreciate that. You can find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Grant at Wisco Grant. Our app, Wisco Sports Zone. I had a guy yesterday that was saw me and said, hey, he lives in Milwaukee. He's like, you're not on in Milwaukee. I said, I know. He said, but I listen to the app every day. And the fact that it buzzes and lets me know when you're coming on is awesome. He said, whoever developed the app and now it sounds great, the whole thing. I said, thank you very much. Appreciate. I don't do that developmental stuff. They just tell us that this is what we're on, but it's great. The app is great. Wisco Sports Zone. Go to your app store and just download it. It's really, really easy. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can hear the Instagram meter behind me. Yeah, somebody's been playing with that today. That's okay. At least like I said, you got somewhat control of the show. But you can find us, The Bill Michaels Show, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok. We are on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee on Saturday nights is our television show. That's on My24 TV. My24 TV. So there you go. Grant Bill's alongside. I'm Bill Michaels, and we're talking about numerous things. Obviously, the ruling today, the Big Ten saying, hey, we're not going to allow players to come back from the NFL to play in Big Ten. Not going to happen. And that's got its own level of controversy because the SEC is like, well, we're going to let you know after Lane Kiffin has already got 2 guys coming back to him from the NFL. So we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, you got all kinds of storylines in the NFL. I mean, all kinds of storylines. What is the most intriguing or top 3 to you? I think a lot of us are kind of paying attention over the fence to what's going on in Pittsburgh with Mike, McCarthy going home. Aaron Rodgers teaming up with Mike McCarthy. The long tenured Mike Tomlin, no more. So I think that whole thing is intriguing. I find what Jerry Jones has very quietly put together, even though he's somewhat of a banana. I think he's done a really good job at putting together a much, much better defense. And the return of Von Miller might be the cherry on the top. So we'll see what happens down there, obviously. But there's just so many good storylines in the NFL that we were talking about. So all of that going on. In addition to that, you also then have the Brewers in the Big Apple, and they lost a half game. Cubs got a win yesterday. So it's 5.5 games is their lead as they kind of just trudge through to get to this series that is going to be so important down in Chicago. The 4-game series at Wrigley, and then you got a quick series with Cincinnati in between there, and then you come back to American Family Field for another 3-game series with the Cubs. So we'll see what happens by the time it's all said and done. That thing going from August into September. So not only is it going to be important for the Brewers to be at least 5 games up going into that series, but if the Brewers at worst split and remain 5.5, 6 games up on the Cubs in the first week of September, at the end of the first week of September, put a fork in it, it's over. It's done. The Brewers would have to go on an epic losing streak, and the Cubs would have to go on an epic winning streak to catch the Brewers and win the division. So at that point, it's over. But to me, it's at least 7, 8 games. If the Brewers would go into that series at 7 and 8 games, I think it's pretty much done. It would be pretty much done at that point. So we got that going on, and whatever other news and notes and such happens to pop up, that's what it is. So Mike over there on the cheap seats says that. Yeah, thank you.
Nothing like the view from the
Cheap seats, God love them. Appreciate you. Everybody over there in the live stream, thank you so much. Mike says, I'm interested in the Vikings dumpster fire. They kind of are, aren't they? And I'm more talking the sense of the quarterback. Well, more talking the sense of the quarterback position. Kyler Murray's going to be their guy. J.J. McCarthy has played okay. Some days are better than others when it comes to the reviews for what he's done. But I keep looking at Kyler Murray going, how well are you going to play in the games that you're going to be healthy? Because we know Kyler Murray, there's death, taxes, and a Packers holding penalty on special teams. Those are the 3 things you can count on. And then the runner-up would be Kyler Murray getting hurt. At what point does Kyler Murray go down, and how well is he playing at that point in time? And then they turn the reins over to J.J. McCarthy, who has not looked good. So, I don't know if it's a dumpster fire, but it's certainly a quandary that they have right now in Minnesota because of the reliability of their quarterback. I find it fascinating what's going on with Fernando Mendoza and company, and the development of him out in LA or Las Vegas. I think that's fascinating. Obviously, with some of the injuries that they've had, it's not really hindered or hampered the Rams, but the Rams have been a little bit concerned about some things, including, again, the back of Matthew Stafford and keeping him healthy throughout a season. Getting guys back from injury in George Kittle coming off of the PUP list in San Francisco certainly helps. Then there's the ability for the Seahawks to repeat, the Patriots to be able to try to get back to a Super Bowl as well, with all of the offseason stuff that's gone on with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. So I just, there's a lot of things. Oh, by the way, I don't usually get into this stuff too much because it's, I don't know. It just doesn't have a level of interest to me like some people. But the Packers alternative uniform, the rivalry jersey, has inspired angst. And here's my take on this, okay? Why they do it? Money. Money. That's why they do it. Okay? Period. If you are a team like, say, Jacksonville, if you're a team that has been a nomadic team like the Raiders, if you are a team that is like the Titans, a younger franchise, we'll say that, they went from the Houston Oilers to the Tennessee Titans, but they're still younger in Tennessee. If you are a team like Carolina, okay, I get it. Alternative jerseys, you're trying to be cool, whatever. This would be like taking and messing with the pinstripes on the Yankees or the just fresh white Dodgers uniforms. There's certain things you don't do. You don't mess with the Packers jerseys. That look. You just don't do it. I get it. They've shortened the sleeves, lengthened the sleeves. They've added different stripes to the sleeves, more stripes, less stripes, tearaway jerseys, holy jerseys, Reebok versus Nike. I get all of that. This is the reason when they unveil these things, I go, It's kind of like when they go to the Acme alternative uniforms and they wear those leather look helmets. There's a coolness to them, but it's still not the Packers helmet. It's like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to buy one. I don't have to have one. If I'm going to get Packers gear, I'm getting Packers gear. That's it. But there's going to be some people that are going to buy the jerseys, and that's what it's all about. They're doing it for the monetary aspect of it. But there is just some things that you don't mess with. You don't put another name on Lambeau Field, and you don't F with the uniforms. I might sound like an OG dude screaming into the wilderness, but you just don't. Just my opinion.
I like them more than I thought I would. I think they're fine.
I don't hate them because I can go, okay, those are kind of cool, but it's the Packers.
Yeah, I like them more than some of the other jerseys I've seen released by other teams. They're fine. It's funny. I saw somebody, I think it was Trevor Sikkema, who used to be at PFF. He's been on the show before. I bookmarked a tweet that he had kind of saying how the Titans nailed their rivalry jerseys. It's like, yeah, because nobody knows what the Titans are actually supposed to look like. You know, you don't have anything to compare it to.
Exactly.
You could show me the Titans alternate jersey and tell me these are the Titans jersey, and I'd say, sure. Exactly. Yeah, sure. I because I wouldn't know any better. I'm with you. Steelers, Packers, Bears. There's just some jerseys that they're so, it's like the Yankees pinstripes. That's great. Leave the alternate jerseys to the Falcons and the Titans and the Jaguars, because nobody knows what those jerseys are supposed to look like anyways.
Right. I completely agree. Let's go to John listening to us in Green Bay. John, how the hell are you doing today? What's going on, man?
I'm doing great, Bill. I just got to tell you, I'm on the road, and I'm driving through Menasha, heading to Neenah, and I'm driving through Menasha for the first time. Holy cow.
Yeah.
They're still they got a lot of work down here. It's going to be years. This is a little shocking right now. I didn't plan on this at all. I want to talk Packers.
Yeah, it's shocking. I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
So let me switch gears here. My three stories are this, and they're all directed towards you. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Number one, we got Trey Schmack. We all love him. I want to buy his jersey. Is he the real deal? 59 yards down the center. Can he take the pressure? Where's that going? Secondly, cornerbacks. We are in the NFC North. We have some of the best receivers we're going to go against. Keyshawn Nixon and CeCe aren't the answer. Thirdly, because you said we get to pick three, will this be the year we fall in love with LaFleur, or do we move on with him? You know what you had LaFleur about 2-3 weeks ago, and you were kind of holding him accountable, and then last week you were kind of soft, like, hey, let's give him a chance. Now shut up and listen. Thank you.
All right, buddy, appreciate it. No, my whole give him a chance is standing firm. I'll nitpick certain things that he says, absolutely, but as far as giving him the opportunity, 100%, I'm in until I'm not. And I know that sounds wishy-washy, but you got to let the season unfold. So that's my first thing when it comes to Matt LaFleur. I mean, what I cannot see is wash, rinse, repeat. I can't see this team coming from behind to lose ball games. Okay, that's first and foremost. I can't see a team play soft. I can't see a team look like a world beater in the first half and go deathly silent in the second with just massive inconsistency, and then have at the end of the game go, well, they made some adjustments. In other words, you didn't. I just don't give me the team's credit. Tell me where you failed, because you're walking away with an L. So that's where I'm at when it comes to Matt LaFleur. Will this be the year that we fall in love with him? We'll wait and see. I'm pretty much sitting there like everybody else, arms folded, saying, "Show me something." Give me something. Give me something to feel really, really, really good about. Not one game. One game does not a season make. But give me stack success in a way in which you go, okay, my confidence level is truly back. Okay? That's first and foremost. Trey Schmack, powerful leg. He can pretty much, he feels comfortable just beyond 60. Powerful leg. That's great. Accuracy, we got to wait and see. It's one thing to kick it mile high. It's another thing to kick in good weather. Give me windy November days, windy October days at Lambeau Field. And if you're hitting them, then you the man. Hit your PATs. And if you're that 40 to 45 yard field goal, hit me that consistently. Because that was the bugaboo. Anything from 39 and in, they were solid. McManus was even good beyond 40 or beyond 49 yards. The 50-plus yarder, he was pretty solid. It was those ones that are more average, the 40 to 49-yard field goals, that became problematic. So if you start hitting those consistently, I'll feel a lot better about you. What was the other one? The cornerback room? I've said all along that Keyshawn Nixon is not a CB1. He is not a press man coverage guy. He can be a disruptor when and if he plays physically. Brandon Cisse, I really like. He just has to learn it. But that guy's got speed. He's got speed you can't teach. You know, it's what's between the ears is where it's going to get you. But speed you can't teach. So, like everything right now, and I hate to say it this way because it's BS, but I'm just got to wait and see. Because we're going to know. If I sit here today and go, man, I feel really good about Trey Smack, and he goes into that first game and feels the pressure going over to US Bank Stadium in a controlled environment and misses 2 to 3 kicks, we're going to go nuts, right? And then he comes back home and misses another kick or 2, we're going to go nuts. But if he drills 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 over there, plus 2 PATs, plus he comes back home and drills 3 or 4 more, I'm going to go, okay, now I feel pretty good. Because the dude hasn't missed a kick. He's been okay. We're going to see coming up on Friday night, playing outdoors at Lambeau Field. How's he going to do? He was pretty good on family night. What was he go, 4 for 5 or 5 for 6 or something like that? So he's been pretty good. And they seem to have gotten the process down. So let's put our hands together and kind of pray a little bit. But I'm still living by the let's wait and see mantra until I go, you know what? I've seen enough. And then we'll figure it all out together, whether or not there was ultimate failure or ultimate success. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead. Derek and Albany, don't go anywhere. I'll get to you right when we come back. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming. And I'm telling you, WinFest is happening right here, right now. WinFest is freaking awesome. Potawatomi, they've got WinFest going on all the way through September 25th. WinFest. It's heading down at Potawatomi, down in Milwaukee. And by the way, on, I believe it's October 25th, we're going to Carter. Might be a Halloween weekend. We're going to Carter. So think about that for a minute. But WinFest is going on right now at Potawatomi. Big deals. $300,000 in cash and prizes at WinFest. It's a summer of big wins, and the summer ain't over just yet. WinFest's final drawing is on September 25th, where you can win cars, vacations, free play, and money. Cash money. That's all at WinFest. All you got to do for all the information, go to Potawatomi.com. That is Potawatomi.com, and get yourself in on WinFest. And don't forget, circle it. Carter, Wisconsin, Potawatomi, up there. We're going to have a great time, I believe, and I'll let you know for sure, but I believe it is October 25th. We're going to be there live for the Green and Gold postgame show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Why is it so important for Madison customers to deal with a licensed, regulated, direct lender?
A lot of lenders may look legit, but they are not, especially online. Borrowers need to be careful to deal with lenders who are licensed and regulated by the state of Wisconsin, who really lend their own money and aren't just lead generators.
And Dollar Loan Center is a direct lender?
Yeah, we've been around 28 years, Wisconsin licensed, and I actually lend my own money. We are extremely transparent, fair, and always guaranteed to beat the rate of our competition. And our customers' Bill of Rights is in writing at don'tbebroke.com, and we never charge to apply.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Janesville, Beloit, and Beaver Dam to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof will make me up inside. I would swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, then I'm through with you.
Welcome back, Bill Michaels Show.
But it's not my state of mind.
Continuing on.
So ugly, sad as you.
On his Tuesday edition, I want to remind you that when the regular season gets underway, you know where the home is going to be at the Green and Gold Postgame Show. Home Field Pub and Social, right there. The restaurant, the Top Golf, the Swing Suites, all the beers that are on tap, televisions everywhere, the game room, you name it. Big party space right in Titletown. Home Field Pub and Social. That is the new official home of the Green and Gold Postgame Show after every Packers home game. Get ready for the regular season. We are so excited to be over there in Titletown, Home Field Pub and Social. Looking forward to it, whether it's the great burgers and food or just the atmosphere itself. And like I said, we're going to be set up there for the Green and Gold Postgame Show after every Packers home game this season. Home Field Pub and Social right there in Titletown. Looking forward to it. All right, let's get back to it. Our buddy Derek in Albany. Derek, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill, 3 things involving the Packers. None of them right now today seem urgent, but they certainly have urgent implications. The long snapper situation is interesting because we had Orzek, which sounds like a topical treatment, doesn't it? Well, she's on Orzek. And then the guy who's snapping now, Cal Adamitis. That sounds like something you get. Well, he's got Adamitis. It's just odd, these names. Remember, we had Scott Tolzien. Tolzien sounds like a topical ointment. But the point is, do you upset the chemistry, Bill? Because even though Orzek has proven himself, he's got the calf injury. This kid, Cal Adamitis, is younger. There's not going to be much of a difference in salary, but you've got a chemistry between the long snapper, Adamitis, and our punter, who's the holder, and the kicker. Do you upset that? That's one issue for the Packers. The second one is the guard situation. I mean, here we had Anthony Belton, look like the road grader, but he's been a tackle earlier in his career in college. Jacob Monk has been in the system long enough to know what's going on. And you look at his tape at Duke, hey, that's college, but he showed promise. And Jacob Monk or Jager Burton at guard. And the third thing is the QB situation. And I've talked to WDZ and I've talked to you guys, and I've seen Kyle McCord in person. I've been to Syracuse games out this way. And you got to remember, Kyle McCord in his last year of college, Bill, he threw for 4,700 yards in 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Right.
You know, I mean, and he didn't play against Division II competition. He was playing against Clemson, Florida State, those. I know the thought is keep the veteran, you know, and Tyrod Taylor, keep the veteran. But this McCord, I think if you put him on the practice squad, I think the team that's going to snag him, whether it's right away or within a few weeks, is Miami. Because he can go to Miami and be a backup, and he'll know the system. And I think he could be a really good future backup. And I know the roster, 53 guys and all that, I just wish they could keep him on the roster. It's not just because I've seen him and like him, but I just think he's got more upside. Yeah, in a jam, Tyrod Taylor because he's a veteran, but you hate to lose a guy with this kind of talent. Who's the quarterback? I can't remember his name right now. We lost, remember, to New Orleans years ago. We had him, and he became Swiss Army knife guy.
He was that guy that became a little of everything.
Right.
Yeah, God, his name escapes me.
Right.
I know Taysom Hill.
Right. Well, there's always one that gets away, right? There's always players that they get away and they become something special. But I'm telling you, I just think that the most important position you have is quarterback. And you say, well, we only have that guy's going to sit there. He's not going to play. We need the roster decisions for extra guards or tackles or defensive line. But those three issues, man, the long snapper situation, the guards, and the QB. And then to me, obviously, we're talking about corner, you know, what we're going to do at cornerback. And I agree with you, man. CeCe looks like he could be the real deal.
I like Cisse. He's got a ton of speed, and he's got a lot of raw talent. He gets his technique down. I think he's going to be really good. And the fact that he's got recovery speed, if he does make a mistake, I like that because he's a lot like Tramon Williams was, Sam Shields was, because Sam Shields could make a mistake and almost bait you into throwing a bad pass. Now, he wasn't great with this, but he could at least knock a ball down. But I like Cisse. I agree with you about the long snapping situation. The rest of the corner room, I still have my eye open just to see what this, how they're going to play it and what's going to shake out. I'm still the most concerned about the guard play, about what they're doing with the offensive line and who's going to really kind of solidify themselves. You know, is Jager Burton going to be the guy? Is Belton going to end up ending up back at the right guard position or a left guard? Are they going to just continually use him as a swing tackle? And even as a swing tackle, he hasn't been great. I mean, there's a lot of things to kind of think about to go, okay, how much better can this team be in certain areas? Because they need to be in certain areas. And if you're going to get any kind of a run game at all, your offensive line has to be better. So to me, it still starts with the trenches. Is Hargrave, Devontae Wyatt, are they going to be better up front? What are they going to do when it comes to an actual nose tackle? Is the nose tackle that they picked up, that they drafted, is he going to be the guy or is he not going to be the guy? You know, I mean, did they get a big body, but he really doesn't have great technique, great push, great balance, whatever you want to call it, or they're going to have to do it in a way in which, you know, they're backing up McClellan with Stackhouse or Jonathan Ford or anybody else that happens to make the team, or they're just going to start running bodies in there. So there's a lot of things we haven't really figured out yet. And it's kind of like when you start to get upset about a pitcher that's got a high ERA in spring training, and you realize, well, the pitcher's only trying to work on just hitting the corners with fastballs at this point. He's not really trying to work on whether or not he's throwing curveballs or sliders or slurves or whatever across the plate or getting guys to bite in a particular situation. So that's why once we get to the regular season, it'll unfold a little bit, and then we'll kind of go, okay, they were right here, they were wrong here. This is where they do or don't have talent. That's why I don't get totally bent about the preseason, because it's just trying to get a look at the back end of the roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're doing a great job with analysis and enthusiasm every day, Bill. And I would say, you know, semantically, if you look at the defensive line, one of the jobs that people don't talk about is the defensive linemen one of their jobs, if they don't get to the quarterback or make a tackle on a running back, is keeping the offensive lineman away from your linebackers.
Yes.
The linebackers can't make plays as well unless your defensive linemen are occupying space or occupying those blockers.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of what the linebackers do is incumbent on what the defensive linemen do.
Right. I completely agree. And sometimes you just have to create a hole. And if you get push as a defensive lineman and say, much like Van Ness in the first sack when they were playing Pittsburgh, Van Ness basically got to the pocket, but it was the middle of the defensive front that cut off any cutback lane. They had nowhere to go, so he had to run into Van Ness. So it's not an easy sack, but Van Ness got one because everybody did their job. You had Edgerrin Cooper and you had Zaire Franklin. Both shot the gap, so there was nowhere to go. They collapsed the pocket. That's exactly the way it's supposed to work. So those are the kinds of things that I'm kind of looking for to see if they continue throughout the season.
Well, thanks, Bill, for getting us psyched for the season, man.
I'm excited. Hang on to your seats, man. Appreciate the phone call as always. All right, we're going to change gears here for a couple of minutes because I know we're talking a lot about the storylines in the NFL, but we got to go and take a look at over the fence at Citi Field. What's going to go on in New York? Get ready for that because you got the Cubs right now, still a little bit in the rearview mirror of the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers back at it tonight, taking on the Mets and David Stearns and company, who have had a dismal season when it comes to all the money that's been spent. Chuck Freimund from the Locked on Brewers podcast is going to be joining us coming up next, so don't go anywhere. Our friends over there at Sobelman's Pub and Grill, they wanted to remind you, if you're heading downtown for anything, heading to Milwaukee for anything, you can stop by, get the brioche burgers and a great atmosphere, just a great pub, Pub and Grill, Sobelman's on Milwaukee Avenue in St. Paul. Been there 27 plus years. They're in Waukesha on William Street. So if you're heading downtown Waukesha, you're going out to the Nice Ash, you're going to get yourself maybe a cigar, a bourbon, a whiskey. You're doing it after dinner. Your dinner, boom, right there on William Street in Waukesha. Sobelman's Pub and Grill, great locations, great food, great owners, great place, great people. Telling you, it's an institution when it comes to pub and grills in the city of Milwaukee and the surrounding area. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show, talking Brewers next.
Meet at Sobelman's.
Milwaukee and Waukesha. Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Whether you're new to the trucking industry or looking for a change from your current driving job, Schneider has an opportunity for you. Need a CDL? Take advantage of our company-paid training and tuition reimbursement programs. Ready to advance your driving career? Check out Schneider's wide variety of driving job options that fit both your current needs and your goals for the future. Start or grow your trucking career at Schneider. See what we have to offer at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome in, Bill Michaels Show. Glad you're on board. Brewers had a great experience in Pennsylvania, Little League World Series. Fantastic time, and I know they walked away with a loss, but what a neat moment that was. And that's one of those things where you say, it's for the kids, and a lot of the time it's not. It's just baiting you into doing something. This one, it was for the kids. It was a really cool event. And the Brewers were happy enough to be a part of that. So that was pretty cool. I like that in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In the meantime, they got more to do. 5.5 games up currently on the Cubs as we sit here and talk about this today. Bring him in now from the Locked On Brewers podcast. Chuck Freimund now joining us. Chucker, how you doing, pal?
Bill, you're right on in that. And I think this shows you with the attention that Mr. Zarowski was getting at this and fans taking selfies with him, just where baseball is at this point, because, obviously in a time that you and I grew up in the 70s and 80s, baseball was king. In the NFL, it still is. But in recent years, these baseball teams, these players have become faceless players. Nobody really cared.
Right.
But I think we're seeing a resurgence in that in the last couple of years. Even with the Brewers here in the state, I'm seeing more people in the state wearing Brewers gear than I ever have. And I'm talking winter.
Yeah.
It used to be you just saw maybe some Buck stuff, definitely Packers. But I'm telling you, I feel like the Brewers machine has really picked up here in the last 5 years.
I would agree with you. I see Brewers stuff everywhere, whether it's hats, shirts, Yeah, I mean, you name it. Somebody's got Brewer stuff on everywhere we go. Jerseys, you name it, they've got something on. And there's a Brewers fever that's caught on. I think this year there's a lot of believers. There's some guys that people are really latching on to, some of these young guys that they know are going to be around for a while. Obviously there's Mizorowski jerseys. There's still the old school, the Fielder and the Braun and the Yount and the Molitor and the Yelich jerseys. Mm-hmm. But now you walk around. This morning I was working out in the gym and there's a guy in there in a Cooper Pratt jersey, who's over on one of the benches lifting. So, and you just didn't see that, even 3 months ago. So it's people are really buying into what they're selling. Now it's whether or not they're able to sell it in the postseason. And I like the fact that they're getting healthy. Let me talk to you about this. Speaking of getting healthy, do you think I think it's the longest of long shots, maybe 0.5%, but do you think there's any shot Woodruff not opting to get this surgery to say, you know what, I think I might be able to come back? Do you have any belief in that at all?
Was something misdiagnosed there? How many times do you ever hear of a guy say, well, he needs surgery,
Right.
And then you go back to the doctor a couple of months later and it's like, well, you don't need surgery anymore.
Right.
That's just wouldn't that be like the most fantastic news ever? I'd be like, I don't need surgery, because when you're an athlete or as a person in general, you don't want if you would have had the second surgery, who knows if he would ever come back.
Right.
But now he's going to do this 5-week ramp up here, and we'll see. Again, I think the Brewers organization still looks at it as a long shot. And who knows, maybe he'll eventually need it. But if a doctor tells you don't need something, I'm not going to have the surgery.
Take it.
And I'll try this 5-week program. Anything to avoid surgery, of course.
Yeah, take it. I mean, if you got a shot at coming back, by all means, go ahead and do it. I'd love to see you work it out and feel comfortable and brings his at least velocity back to the low mid-90s, and he has some placement to it for even a game. He can help you out maybe in the postseason. We were sitting there watching and listening to all the statistics the other night during the game when they were playing in Williamsport, and they keep harping on the team with the lowest total of home runs hit. And by 4, I mean, they're trailing the Blue Jays and the Cleveland Guardians by 4 home runs. They only have 120 on the season, and talking about how they can score runs and what they're going to run up against in the postseason. The regular season's one thing, but everybody's got good pitching when they get to the postseason. How concerned are you not having the bop of a bat?
Well, I think it makes it a lot different to get from point A to point B when you don't have that guy who can hit you the long ball. A couple of Friday nights ago in Los Angeles against the Dodgers, the Brewers, to get a 3-run rally going to win that game, they had to put together 5 straight singles. And the Brewers have done that this year. And that's, there's more work. There's more things that got to be done correctly instead of having a guy coming up there and maybe turn the game around. Like Bowers on Saturday hits the 2-run blast.
Right.
All of a sudden, you jump out in front and you take the lead. You're up 3-1. It's just such a big thing to have that guy in your lineup and to be able to hit home runs. Now, the minor league system has got some power hitters, I think, coming up here in the next couple of years. I know that. But yeah, it's just a tough route to go. But this is the route they've chosen. This is the way they're going to do it. They're going to do it with pitching. They're going to do it with defense. So there was not much defense in that game in Williamsport on Sunday. But this is what they think they're going to have to do at this point until some of those big bats are able to get to the parent team.
I started looking closely at stats, and the one thing that I have noticed is the Cubs have had a resurgence. The Cubs are number 1 in taking walks. The Cubs are number 1 or 2 in on-base percentage now. They have upped their OPS. They are right there in hits. The Brewers are, they've dropped a little bit in OPS. They're down to 7th. They're 3rd overall in batting average, 5th in runs scored, 2nd in OPS. But the Cubs, they weren't there. They were in the top 8, top 9 in a lot of those categories. Now they're number 1 and number 2 in a lot of those categories. Offensively, they're raking. How much do the Cubs heading into the postseason concern you?
Oh, I think there's a lot of teams in the National League. The Brewers can't overlook anybody. And this division is not even won yet. The Brewers have their 5.5 game lead here, but this is by no means a done deal. The Cubs are a good team. I joke about the Cubs in the podcast. And earlier this year, Team Lifeless, and they've done that in the past and all that. But they have the ability to put up some big runs offensively and just explode. And they got a terrific lineup. Bregman is finally being the Bregman that they paid for. The dangerous lineup Oh, without question, more dangerous than Milwaukee's lineup. I still think the Brewers are a better team. They get it done in more ways than the Cubs do. But I look at the Cubs, of course, the Dodgers, the Padres, certainly there's a few teams, Atlanta, who we just saw. The Brewers took 2 or 3 from them, but the Braves are a good team. The National League is just absolutely loaded with teams that can win a World Series. And the Brewers are one of them.
I said if Atlanta wins the division, Walt Weiss is probably going to win Manager of the Year if they win the division. If they don't and they get overtaken by the Phillies, the Cubs don't win because the Cubs are expected to win the National League Central. So if the Brewers win 100 games, they're not going to give it to Dave Roberts because Dave Roberts has been there, done that, and he's going for back-to-back-to-back World Series. I got to think that, again, Murphy's going to be in strong consideration for Manager of the Year. It's just whether or not they would give it to him 3 years in a row. If he wins 100-plus games, Walt Weiss falls out of contention because they get overtaken by the Phillies. The Cubs did not win the division, so you can't give it to Craig Counsell, and Roberts has been there, done that. Do you think they give another one to Pat Murphy?
I think they should. See, I don't look at it and say, well, he's won it the last 2 years, and he shouldn't get it for a third year. That's one of the years, it's one of the times that Jordan didn't win MVP because they wanted to give it to, I think, Charles Barkley. That's what it was. Yeah. I look at it like he's lost one of his best players. 2 years ago was Willie Adames. This year, Freddie Peralta, Corbin Burns a couple of years before that. You keep losing these pieces, yet the Brewers still find ways to win. They lose their ace, Brandon Woodruff, to start the season. And for most of this year, obviously. Mizorowski emerges. You're winning with 2 rookies out there, Lara and Pratt, 2 guys who are under the age of 22. You look at the Brewers lineup. How are they getting it done? We've said that before. How are they getting it done? I think without question, and this is being unbiased, I think without question, Murphy is Manager of the Year. Now, I will say this. I wish these postseason awards, the postseason, the playoffs had something to do with the voting, because I think that when the cards are down, that's what really matters to me. Yeah, sure, you put up a nice, pretty regular season record, but what did you do in the postseason? That's why I think Dave Roberts, if you go back, you'd say, well, Dave Roberts should be Manager of the Year last year. He got his team to win when it matters most in the world. They won the championship. So that's the one thing I just think, well, I feel like here in the state of Wisconsin, we always win these MVPs and Manager of the Years and Comeback Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year, but we don't win the championship.
Right. And we're going to get a chance in a couple of weeks to sit down with Pat Murphy for an evening and talk with him. But if you had to ask Murph something specific, maybe even outside of the normal day-to-day operations of baseball, is there something in your mind that you would go, Murph, like what buttons are you pushing behind the scenes? How does this work? Fatherly love. I mean, is there something burning a question in your mind when you talk about Pat Murphy and the managerial style that he brings to the table?
I'd say, Murph, do you ever go into a game and you say the layup line? You see this, you've gone to a basketball game and you say, well, you see the 2 sides. You say, well, this team is certainly going to beat this team over here.
Right.
Do you ever look at it at the layup line and say, how are we getting it done? How are we beating the Braves? How are we taking 3 or 4 of the Dodgers? Because, if you look at it, Bill, stack up against the Dodgers, and a couple of weeks ago, the Dodgers got MVPs up and down the lineup, and they got Cy Young Award winners. How are the Brewers, with someone you never heard of playing second base, they're bringing up warm bodies and signing guys, making trades for for cash considerations, with players and put these guys in the lineup. And that's another case for Murphy right there.
Didn't we walk out of
look at the lineup? You look at the lineups, you say, how are you winning these games, Murph?
Right. Didn't we look at coming out of San Diego like, holy crap, they guys got swept in San Diego. Now they got to go play 4 against the Dodgers. If they lose 3 out of 4 there and the Cubs keep winning, by the time these 2 teams play, they may be tied. I looked at it as, oh my God. And then they won 3 out of 4. The Cubs lost some games, and I went from being somewhat nervous to like, I don't even think the Cubs are going to catch the Brewers at this point. And they're still sitting 5.5 games back. As good as the Cubs have played, they got to be pounding their head against the wall right now because they're playing good baseball and they're still 5.5 games back.
I would ask this. This is my second question to ask with Murph. It's Murph. Honestly, you never go on a long losing skid. You lose maybe 2, 3, 4 at most. They had a 6-gamer early in the year, but in these 3 years, every time you think they're going to go south, like the San Diego series, they lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And there were people out there who said, oh, by the end of this weekend, they're done playing the Dodgers. The Cubs will be in first place. Well, they went into LA and took 3 or 4.
Right.
Every time you want to count these guys out, they just bounce back. And I see it on Twitter. The Brewers suffer a tough. They might lose tonight in New York. Oh, how are they losing in New York? It happens in baseball.
Right.
And then what happens usually is they come back and they win the next 2 games.
Yep.
I'll take 2 or 3.
Right.
2 or 3 from the Braves. They win. Brewers have not lost a home series since the end of June. We're talking 2 months here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cubs are on the road taking on the Diamondbacks tonight. Brewers are in New York as well, and Harrison on the hill. And I got to admit, I really like, even without Woodruff there, I really like their rotation. I know Dustin May's last outing was not good, and he struggled. But I like Mizorowski. I like Henderson. I like Harrison. I think I still would take Dustin May over Drohan, obviously, and over Gasser. But, those 2 guys can certainly fill the bill by giving you extended innings coming out of the bullpen if need be. They already have guys like Chad Patrick and company in there. I feel good about where the pitching staff is, barring, knock on wood, no injuries. If and when they get to this postseason, like, they can beat anybody with the pitching that they have. All they got to do is keep it close and then keep chipping away.
Well, it's funny about Dustin May. When the Brewers made that trade, I heard from everybody said, God, what a terrible trade. Why are we getting farm innings for this guy? And then he went out and pitched 2 good outings. Then I didn't hear from anybody again. And then he went out and gave up 7 runs over the first 2 innings of the last start. And then they all came out, gosh, what are we doing trading for this guy?
Right.
Dustin May is still a good pitcher. And those front 3 you mentioned, Bill, Mizorowski, Harrison, and Henderson. Henderson has yet to have a bad outing in his career. Over 18 starts. That's phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah.
This guy's just
crazy.
incredible. So it's the pitching is on this team, and their bullpen has just been amazing. They've been down Uribe, and he's on a rehab assignment with the Timber Rattlers tonight. They're down Uribe, and they're mixing and matching for that 8th inning spot. And he's still getting outs, and they're still winning games. So, yes, I mean, the Brewers, again, how are they getting it done? They find ways.
Yeah.
Senzatella the other night, you're sitting at the edge of your seat, and you're wondering, oh, my God, the bases are loaded here with Senzatella on the mound. He's walking guys. He's hitting guys. Somehow gets out of the inning.
Right. I know. It's crazy how amazing they've been able to kind of figure it out. Chuck, pleasure as always, bud. Where can they find you?
Bill, as always, Google, Spotify, Apple, on all the major audio downloads. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. Hit us up on Locked On Brewers as well. We'll be on there late tonight. Locked On Brewers are 30-minute. YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell. All the content as free. Bill, as always, my friend, these summer days are waning. Get out there, enjoy them. Have yourself a cold one at the Tiki Bar, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
You're the man. Scintillating as always. Good stuff, Chuck. Appreciate it. There you go. Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast joining us for a couple of minutes. Always appreciate him hanging out with us. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more to get to. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in, Bill Michaels Show. Fast and Furious 2 hours. Can't believe we're halfway through this thing already. Holy mackerel. This thing's just flying by. Flying by. Thanks to everybody hanging out with us over on the live stream as well. And I tell you what, just looking at some of the people that are kind of responding over the live stream after the Brewers discussion. Tyron are the three favorites for AL Manager of the Year. Murphy Weiss for Atlanta. You mean NL. Murphy Weiss for Atlanta, and then Mattingly for Philadelphia. Mattingly's probably the dark horse in all of that. If they end up catching the Braves, he very well may get that, especially because they were basically dead in the water going back to the June, and they just have had an incredible resurgence. And when you look at it, what is your belief in the team going into this postseason? Because I just feel like the rotation is stronger this year coming into the postseason. So that's just me. We got Brewers to talk about. We got more NFL storylines to talk about, text messages to get to, phone calls to get to. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Feel free to go ahead and do so. We would love to hear from you. Stay tuned. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in New York. It's where they're going to take on the Mets in a series starting tonight. The crew comes in off of taking 2 of 3 against the Braves. Kyle Harrison gets the ball for Milwaukee. He's 10-3 with a 2.84 ERA. Hasn't allowed a run in 2 of his last 3 starts. The Mets counter with Zach Thornton. He's 3-4 with a 3.04 ERA. He's given up at least 3 runs in 4 of his last 5 outings. Milwaukee's leading the NL Central, stands at 5.5 games on the Cubs. First pitch is set for 6:10. Turning to the Packers, they're going to hold a joint practice tomorrow with the Cardinals in Green Bay. There have been some big fights in joint practices already this year. Coach Matt LaFleur says, for the most part, hasn't been an issue for the Packers during his tenure.
I think there's a lot of unknowns anytime you go into joint practices. I don't care who you're going against, but we've had, fortunately, I know last year there was an incident with Seattle, but I think back the year before when we played Baltimore, there was no issues. So that's all we're looking to do, is have good, clean work, and hopefully it's productive for both teams.
Again, it'll be the Packers and Cardinals joint practice tomorrow. The teams will then meet on Friday night in the final preseason game for both.
It's a summer of big wins with WinFest at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Just play with your Potawatomi rewards card for entries and your chance to win cash and reward play all summer long. Then keep the excitement going because all your monthly drawing entries roll over into the WinFest final drawings on September 25th, where you could win cars, dream vacations, free play, and cash. Don't miss out on WinFest, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Well, the Badgers less than 2 weeks out from the start of their season against number 4 Notre Dame at Lambeau Field. The Irish have been installed as 20.5-point favorites as they return the most production of any team in the country. That includes Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback C.J. Carr. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome, Bill Michaels Show. How are we looking? Hopefully your day is just fantastic. Just fantastic. Yeah, just fantastic. I want to remind you the 19th annual Big Unit Poker Run. It's getting the push, and I'm finally starting to see that pre-registration now that everybody has seen the weather forecast, which is it's now between 75 and 79 and sunny, mostly sunny, which is great. The temperatures come down a little bit as fall kind of creeps into September, but I always call it September. But the weather forecast looks fantastic, and now people are starting to get traction. You've got, obviously, the Dells Bike Week coming up this weekend. And, hey, by the way, if you're going to be heading out there, a friend of ours, Bobber's Bar, they're going to have some big doings going on out there. So check out Bobber's out in the Dells if you're going out to the Bike Week in the Dells. But once this is all done, we are back. The ride is ready to go. Coming up on Sunday, September 6th. So a week from Sunday, we ride, and we need you to bring a friend. We need you to get registered, pre-registration. Somebody is going to win the 2 VIP tickets to have a meet and greet with Pat Murphy, go to Conversations for a Cause as our guest. You get dinner. There's going to be some cigars there. There's going to be beverages. There's going to be all kinds of great stuff and an intimate chat with the Brewers manager that evening. So we're so excited about all of that, but more so than anything about raising money for veterans, military members, and their families. We can't do this without you. So please, if you considered it, if you think you're going and you're like, I'm going to be going to this, why not just get pre-registered and get it out of the way? Get registered now. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. That's bigunitfoundation.com. Go to the events page, and at the bottom of the page, you can get registered for the 19th annual Big Unit Poker Run. We're going to have a great weekend. We kick things off that Thursday night down at the museum with Lita Ford's going to be one of the acts. We've got a couple of country acts coming into town on Friday and then Saturday, and then we ride on Sunday. The weekend is going to be fantastic. The weather looks really good, but we cannot raise the funds without you. Thanks to our friends at Cousin Subs, Burn Pit Barbecue, German Fest, Game Day, Men's Health, obviously Potawatomi, who's been with us for years, Marquardt RV, Road America, and the Harley-Davidson Museum. We've got everything on tap this year. We've got Flyover again. We've got our color guards again, Anthem again. Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal is going to be there. So is Tim Duffy, the American hero and firefighter from New York City, and all of his team. Artie Stars, the new CEO of Harley-Davidson, wants to be a part of this. He's going to ride with us. Bill Davidson, that family has their name on a tank. They're coming and hanging out with us. And they said, hey, all bikes are welcome. We want every type of bike. We want Hondas. We want Harleys. We want Indians. It doesn't matter. Please come out and join us. Sunday, September 6th, we ride for veterans, military members, and their families. And we're going to throw a hell of a party out at Suburban Harley-Davidson after the fact, but we can't do it without you. Please go to bigunitfoundation.com. And then the events section, and you can get registered right there. So we're just looking forward to it. I can't beg you enough. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. We're going to get to some text messages coming up here in a couple of minutes. 877-867-1670. Text us 608-321-1670. You can find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. We're on Twitter. We're on X. You can watch the show there at Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco. Grant, The app is Wisco Sports Zone. That's Wisco Sports Zone. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok if you choose to do so under The Bill Michaels Show. We're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And don't forget our television show airs Saturday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time on My 24 TV. That is My 24 TV. There you go. Text messages to get to. Grain Man Mike says Joe Torre and Bobby Cox each managed 29 seasons. Bobby Cox won 4 Managers of the Year awards, and Joe Torre only won 2. Torre won 4 World Series to Bobby Cox's 1. I'm not saying Murphy is going to win Manager of the Year this year, but it should not be Dave Roberts and their inflated payroll that they will be still paying out longer than the Bobby Bonilla deal. I agree with that. I don't want to say it's easy to manage with that kind of money, but because otherwise the Mets would do it, right? But I think it's kind of, when you look at the markets and you look at what you have to work with, and I don't want to say the Brewers are any less than the Dodgers, but they're not the same hype and money, so to speak. You know? Going back to the uniform issue with the Green Bay Packers out of the 727, it says, hey, Bill, it'd be nice if the NFL had a couple of uniforms for each team and let the fans pick it. I do like the rivalry uniform, though. I'm not saying I don't like it, because that's not my point. My point is, for substantial teams, I'm talking OG, cornerstone teams, Packers, Cowboys, all that kind of stuff. Giants. I'm not a fan of changing up the jerseys. I'm just not. Out of the 262, Mitch and Oshkosh, very disappointed in the Packers bending the knee with developing yet another alternative modern day uniform. This is coming from a 28-year-old. He said, if the franchise, like the partners or the Panthers or the Texans, with no strong enough history, that's fine. But the Packers are a historic franchise that can get away with not designing alternative uniforms. They don't need it. Tradition is what makes the Green Bay Packers special. The all whites was where I reached the limit for the modern alternates. Wear your regular uniforms, the whites for one game, and then wear the throwback uniform for another game. Alabama football has worn the same home and away uniform forever. They're historic, just like the Green Bay Packers. Why can't Green Bay do the same? They're all, the better answer is money. Hey, maybe people are going to come in that day and buy a ton of the alternative uniforms. People that already have the historic jerseys are not going to want to spend more money on the alternative uniforms.
I've seen the fan merch, so like the T-shirts and the hats and the sweatshirts that use this branding. I actually think it looks really sharp. It has the old kind of interlocking GB, and the jerseys are fine, which is about as good as I could hope for. I think the merch and the branding and the imaging is actually really strong, and it's historical. It doesn't feel like they're trying to invent something new. It feels like they're using some old coloring and imaging to kind of work into this jersey. I fully expected to hate it, and I don't hate it. I think it's fine.
Like I said, I don't hate it. That's not it. My point is why do the Packers do this? They don't have to. I mean, I get it. Everybody does it, but they don't have to. I just don't mess with what your tradition is, but they've, other historic teams. I don't know what Alabama has done, but I know even like Notre Dame has messed with their uniforms over time. They went from those ugly green ones to the dark blue ones to the gold ones to the white ones everybody's messed with them. Everybody wants to sell merch. That's what it's all about. It just, it is what it is. So it's not that I hate it, because I don't think it's a terrible look. It's just, it's the Packers, man. You just, I want to see, when you're at home, the green jerseys, white letters, gold pants. That's what I want to see. Throwing it back to the Acme days, not a fan of that, because it's just as ugly gets. But I understand that heritage. There's no heritage to this. This is just, oh, by the way, we want to make some money uniforms. That's all these are. That the throwbacks, that I get. I understand that. So, oh well. It is what it is. Like even when I grew up in Cincinnati, when they changed uniforms, the whole stripes thing, people didn't like it. Until they came up with a song about it. And then it kind of became, okay, well, by the way, they went to a Super Bowl wearing those things. So that's what you have to stick with, because of superstition. But they were very plain and very simple early on. The Browns were very plain and very simple early on. Pittsburgh, Very plain and very simple. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too OG for that. Who knows? But that's okay. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Our buddy Steve says the Brewers have 2 big series back-to-back this week. The Mets having a craptastic year, and the Rangers playing 500 ball. The focus has to be on these 2 teams before you look into the Cubs next week. This is where Murph shines, and I truly believe that he will not let that happen. The Packers just need to get through the week injury-free, and it's going to be interesting to see how the joint practices go tomorrow. Joint practices often end up with punches being thrown. Let's hope that does not happen with a cut-down day Sunday this week. It's going to be intense for the bubble players for sure. As far as the NCAA goes and athletics, it's the biggest piece of blank out there. NIL has destroyed the football programs and the basketball programs right there on their heels. In Madison, going back to the Dave McClain days, God rest his soul, he started winning the tradition at Wisconsin, and then Barry kept it rolling. I'm old school and loved it when the Badgers would land almost every big ugly in the state of Wisconsin. Offensive and defensive linemen. Chris McIntosh single-handedly put this program in the dumpster, which will take a few years to dig out of. That's our buddy Steve in Richfield. Steve, I hope, Steve, you are wrong. I hope they dig out of it sooner, meaning this year. So there you go. Let's do this. We're going to break a little bit early because when we come back, we're going to hear Matt LaFleur. So let's do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and then we'll play with Matt LaFleur, and let's take a listen to what he has to say in regards to the upcoming joint practices and such. And then, obviously, his brother coming to town. So you've got his brother, another LaFleur, entering the confines that is Green Bay. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Levine Ice Burner. And Brent Iceburner, not only on the board of directors of Fisher House, Wisconsin, but he's a veteran. So he brings that same level of detail and tenacity to the courtroom for you, for your case, actually answers the phone when you call, and builds that relationship with you, the personal injury attorney, estate planning, if you want to get into that. How about civil litigation, or maybe just you starting a business or need a contract written up? They can help you with all of that. And God forbid you need to go to court, he represents you there as well. Call him direct, 608-621-2888, 608-621-2888. Again, 608-621-2888. Levine Ice Burner. All you got to do is call. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Matt LaFleur next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We are now open in Madison. Stand by for details on how much it costs to borrow $1,000 from Dollar Loan Center. We offer signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes, and you don't need great credit or collateral. No checking account required, no application fees, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. So if you need $1,000, it'll only cost you $7.56 per day. You can keep it out for a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. For new customers, the first week's interest is even on us. Give DLC a shot. You'll be glad you did. Visit us in Madison at 4100 East Washington Avenue, or in Janesville, Beloit, Beaver Dam, and more.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. In amounts based on biweekly pay frequency with annual percent credit 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show, Matt LaFleur coming up. I want to remind you, even if you don't ride a motorcycle, you can still join us. And I've had a lot of questions about this. Can we still come? Can we still enjoy the band and all that kind of stuff? It is open to the public at Suburban Harley-Davidson on Sunday afternoon, September 6th. So a week from Sunday. It's the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So our party, our motorcycle ride ends at Suburban Harley-Davidson. They're going to have Six Pack Sammy, who's a really good band, local band, playing there. There's going to be food trucks and beverages and vendors and all kinds of good stuff. And if you want to make a donation, come on out and hang out with us. We would be glad to say hello and shake a hand. But even if you don't ride, please come out and join us. We'd love to have you on site out there with us. You can come out and meet people like the new CEO of Harley-Davidson, Artie Stars. There's going to be Tim Duffy, who is the New York firefighter. He's coming into town. Him and his people are going to be there with one soldier, one dog, one team. They're all going to be with a booth set up there at Suburban Harley-Davidson. Bill Davidson may be out there and hanging out with us for a while. So just come on out and join us. And we would love to have you on site out there. Again, you're going to have to park your car about a half a block away. It's not far away. You can park your car up the street a little bit because motorcycle parking is going to be up front. But come on by and say hello. But if you ride with us, that's where the party is going to be. Suburban Harley-Davidson. And they can take care of you. They can get you into motor clothes, get you into a bike, get you into parts, accessories, get your bike on the road. If you got some issues right now, take it to them. Say, hey, I want to be a part of the ride. Can you get me in? They will. Okay, they will. So get a hold of our friends at Suburban Harley-Davidson. Go to suburbanharley.com. And don't forget, tonight is the last bike night at Wayne's Drive-In and Five Corners in Cedarburg for Suburban Harley-Davidson. So I'm going to be out there for a little bit tonight. I got 2 bike nights to go to, but I'll be out there for a little while, and I hope to see you out there as well. So thanks to our friends at Suburban Harley-Davidson. Go to suburbanharley.com. That's suburbanharley.com. Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Take a listen to what the head coach of the Packers had to say.
And I know you're in the day-to-day here, but how special will it be to be on the same field coaching with your brother this week?
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool experience. It's not the first time, but it's certainly the first time as head coaches. So I talked to him last night, just kind of trying to finalize the details and the plan for practice, and look forward to seeing him.
How much interaction will be among you during the week?
Yeah, we're gonna do something with our staffs together, and it's not the first time we've done that. We've done that with other teams that have come in, where we get together after the practice.
Is that your first time having talked to another coach about the terms of joint practice? But is this one different working with your brother anyway?
Yeah, he is quick to criticize everything that I put on the schedule. So he's like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? We never do this. And I was like, all right, Mike, you got all the answers. So, but No, it's been healthy. It's been good. So there's been give and take on both sides for sure.
Has the criticism gone back the other way at all, or just one way?
Yeah, it's pretty much one way.
But on a personal note, it is cool. I mean, there's not many times that it's been brother, not against brother, but you know what I'm saying? It's from a personal experience. Is it pretty cool this is happening?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty special. But at the end of the day, we're just looking to try to get good work, both sides. Certainly always going to prioritize the Green Bay Packers, but if there is another team in the National Football League rooting for, it will be the Arizona Cardinals.
What are your parents wearing to practice?
That's a heck of a question. They'll probably look like a Christmas tree, green and red.
Following his journey from the beginning, what do you thought of the work that he's put in to put himself in this position now to be in the same spot as he was head coach in this league?
Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of a lot of things. I'd say certainly, he's never shied away from the work. He's earned the opportunity. And then it's also, we've both been fortunate to be around a lot of great people. And this doesn't happen unless you get those experiences and learn from some of the best in football. So, but it's cool to see him get a shot.
What advice have you given him given your experience being from a perspective?
I can't tell you anything specifically. I think one thing that I think he does a great job is he's going to be himself. And I think that's where it always starts. You got to be authentic and true to who you are and your core values and beliefs. And I don't think he'll ever try to be anybody other than himself.
You both have so much on your plate, Matt, but are these the moments where you get in the stadium and soak it up and go, this is cool?
Well, I'm sure when that moment comes, I really haven't put too much thought into that, but I'm sure when it comes, it'll be a special moment.
Do you feel like you can get more out of this joint practice? Like, can you run more stuff? You don't play them in the playoffs. It's your brother, you guys can kind of, get together. Can you run more different stuff?
Well, I think there's certainly a trust factor there that the film's not going to go anywhere. If there is, there's going to be a problem. So, yeah, I think certainly you can potentially open it up a little bit more.
What was the situation with Warren Brinson and him not playing in that game?
Yeah, it happened in warm-ups. He felt a little tweak in his calf, and so he'll miss a little bit of time.
You're going to get Orzik back this week, and then if you do, are you going to make another move to bring in another kicker?
Well, I think he's getting closer to say that he'll be back this week. I think it might be too soon to say, but I know he's getting close.
What's the plan for Jacobs this week?
He'll be limited in all team periods, but he'll be out there practicing.
Will he do any team?
Oh yeah.
How about C7?
He should be fine. He should be good to go.
Going back to joint practices, how have things kind of evolved for you in terms of what you want to do in it, how much you want to show? Like in 19, right, Pagano's brother was on the Texan staff. I don't know if that affected.
Oh yeah, that certainly affected.
So but then you have Sala who you can trust.
Sure.
And so how do you kind of approach it?
Well, I think every year is a little bit different in terms of who you're playing. Certainly, you look at the connections that somebody may have. That was a great example in 19. So we were a little bit, kept things a little bit tighter. But I think every situation is a little bit different in terms of who you're going against and who they got on their staffs and the connections between other staffs. And because I know all these guys, they all talk. So, but I think, when it comes to this situation, I don't have any hesitation or reservations.
Given the fines that were handed down to Cowboys and Saints, fights in the joint practice, is there any extra message you give the team heading in terms of trying to avoid that kind of thing? I know it kind of can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we've been saying for years. First of all, if there is an issue in practice and that we're not going to play everybody in the game in it, but if you don't get your work in, you're going to play in the game. And conversely, if you're somebody that needs that work to get those snaps so the whole world can see it, you're going to be limited or not at all playing in the game. And then the second part of that is if there's an issue, I'm going to tell the guys, hey, you come tag me in. They can tag in my brother, and we'll throw down on the 50. So,
given the circumstances, do you think it's less likely that you'll see fights with two brothers as head coaches, or once they're on the grass, does that stop mattering?
I mean, I think there's a lot of unknowns anytime you go into joint practices. I don't care who you're going against, but we've had, fortunately, I know last year there was an incident with Seattle. But like I think back the year before when we played Baltimore, there was no issues. So that's all we're looking to do is have good, clean work, and hopefully it's productive for both teams.
There were some players in the last 2 days who decided to go back to college. Do you have any such issues?
Yeah, that's a heck of a question. That's not something that I've put too much thought into. I think Goody's probably put more thought into that. But I mean, it's kind of crazy to even think about.
Is Banks going to do team today? I saw him kind of limp off the field after last practice.
He should be out there.
Is he on track to be able to start the opener if he's your guy?
I think so. I believe so. I think he's made good progress, and ultimately he's got to continue to put those days back to back to back. And I think that he's definitely getting better. He's trending in the right direction.
What was the situation with Jade Reed being inactive?
This last game,
Yeah, sorry.
that was a personal matter.
Yeah, obviously catching the ball is a pretty basic part of being a receiver, but does Matthew Golden have especially good hands?
I would say yes. I think he's got elite hands. That catch he made in Denver on that crossing route, I think that kind of showed to it. I thought it was good, just a good savviness by him. He felt an underneath defender and he kind of bled up the field because I think it was a good ball, especially he kind of changed the angle on Jordan. But to make that catch and not lose stride, a low hands catch, I think that just speaks to just how good his hands really are.
After watching back the preseason game, what did you see from Chris McClellan specifically?
Yeah, I thought he flashed. I thought he did a lot of great things. I think just playing with the play style that we're looking for. He showed some good burst getting after the quarterback. There was a play where he got out of the stack and almost took out Jalen Simpson, but I just like the effort running to the football. But there's certainly a lot of things that he can improve upon as well, and we'll get him coached up on those. And but I do think he's a really good, young, talented player.
Did J. Mike clear protocol?
He's working through that right now.
Okay, for him, what have you thought of the camp side, and how tough might that be for his push to make this team?
Well, I think he's done a lot of good things, and what I really like about him is just doing all the little things, because I think it's true with most young players, especially guys that are trying to carve out a role on this football team. It's like, the more you can do. And I think we've seen it in the run game, just how he goes out there and blocks. I think we've seen it on special teams, his ability to go out there and contribute. So, there's going to be a lot of tough decisions, though, down the stretch.
Two more, please. On the opening drive against the Broncos, 99, Zach Allen got in the back a couple times, one time back to back, and you guys ended up scoring. Can you talk about how you thought that drive?
Yeah, I thought overall it was pretty positive. Certainly, he's a really good player. I think he is probably undervalued around the league. He's been disruptive. Every time we've gone against him, he's been a problem. So there's a lot of things that we certainly can do better from a technical standpoint and clean up to not allow that to happen. But overall, I was pleased with their offense.
Going back to Matt's question about Sterling, you got him, you got Naylor, you got Shepard, who had a good game. How do you kind of view that group and what they're competing for? And does it help that McCord has played as well as he has? Because sometimes you get a third quarterback in there, and maybe those guys don't get the same.
Yeah, that's something that we talk about all the time. Is I think Kyle's gone in there and done a great job allowing those guys to have the opportunity to make plays. To your point, that doesn't always happen. So, all those guys, I think are worthy. I mean, they've all done a great job, and it's not just been one game. It's been consistent throughout training camp.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Coach Matt LaFleur talking about the upcoming joint practices and some of the, kind of the state of the team, so to speak. Him and his brother are going to throw down. Yeah, I can see that's some brotherly fights going on. There'll be some cheering happening and all of that. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We kind of recap that a little bit when we return. Don't forget, coming up in less than an hour from now, Mike Clemens up in Green Bay going to be joining us as well. We'll get his perspective on all of this as the Packers get ready for the joint practices between themselves and the other Cardinals. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Big Boar, BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. Breakfast, lunch, dinners, catering. If you're thinking about maybe treating your staff, your coworkers or something, there you go. Have it just brought on in. Just open the pans up. You're good to go. Otherwise, stop in and treat yourself. Treat yourself. Pulled pork and the ribs and the chicken and everything else that goes along with it. The golden mac and cheese, all the different breakfasts and sandwiches and such that they have now, and the dry rub ribs, which are so good. They got something for everybody. That's Big Boar, BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. Family owned. And I love those family owned businesses. You know that. Family owned, locally owned. Right here in the state of Wisconsin. Big Boar, BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. That's BigBoarBBQ.com in West Salem, just a little bit northeast of downtown La Crosse, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome. Great Italian food, downtown Milwaukee. The best you're going to have. Best you're going to have. That's Colorado Club, 838 Old World 3rd Street, right across the street from the Hyatt Hotel. Same thing with San Giorgio, right next door. Authentic Italian, just different. And it's right out of Napoli, Italy. Colorado Club on one side, San Giorgio on the other. Two great places, one great owner. And they do. So they also right now they've got a whole thing going on where there's a bunch of restaurants in Milwaukee in the Wisconsin area that are doing a portion of their proceeds over the next couple of weeks for Children's Hospital. They're doing a whole thing where they raise money every year, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for Children's Hospital. And if you go down there, you dine out and you dine for care. And that's what it basically is. You have a great meal, you have a great time, but also a portion of your proceeds all donated towards Children's Hospital. So some good stuff. 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee, right across the street from the Hyatt Hotel. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to figure us out? Please go ahead and do so. Got some stuff. We were talking about the uniforms a little bit earlier. Scott from De Pere said, hey, referring to the rival jerseys, are the Packers doing this or it's the NFL? It's the NFL. It's the NFL. But that's the machine that is making the money. But, I get it. They have to. That's what I'm saying. I get it. They have to do it. Okay. I'm just not a fan of it. That's all. I'm not blaming the Packers. I'm not sitting here going, the Packers suck because this is what they're doing. That's not it. I'm not a fan of it. It's just another way to say, hey, we're trying to print money. Because otherwise, why are you doing it? Right? Throwback jerseys are one thing.
We want to go back and have a throwback game, go back to our heritage. Okay, I get that. But we're going to go with alternative jerseys. You know why? Because people want to buy them. There's no other reason to do that. None. That's it. So that's the reason I'm kind of like, it sucks. Not that I'm going to, not go to the game or I'm going to boycott or something. I'm not going to do that. It's just, there's certain teams you just don't want to mess with, right? Just don't want to mess with it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from Luis. Luis says, hey, guys, my biggest concern for the Green Bay Packers is still the offensive line, the big storylines this year in the NFL, going back to the conversation we had a little bit earlier when we were talking about all of this. He said, number one, I'm going to watch Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers try to get along together because we all know when things go bad, Aaron Rodgers is going to point the finger and turn on Mike. My second storyline is going to be whether or not Ben Johnson can get that team to believe the same this year as he did last year. And my third storyline is I really like the Atlanta Falcons and have since I was a kid. I want to see if their quarterback situation can pan out and Bijan Robinson can have another successful season. So there you go. Appreciate the email. And yeah, you know what? If you got another team that you pay attention to, I'm sure that's going to be a storyline you're going to be interested in. Without a doubt. I get it. No problem. And I'll be honest with you, the NFC South, that's kind of up for grabs, isn't it? You got Tua there. I mean, they picked up Tua in the offseason, right? You still have Michael Penix Jr. There's question marks about how good they're actually going to be. Bijan Robinson's fantastic. They picked up Jahan Dotson from Philadelphia as a wide receiver. Who else did they get? I know they bolstered their offensive line a little bit. They did a lot of work on their defense. Mason Smith, they picked up the nose tackle from Jacksonville. Zadarius Smith is there, by the way, for those that didn't know. Zadarius Smith, now I think he's past his prime, but Zadarius Smith is down there too. But they're just trying to get better in any way they can possibly get better, just to see if they're going to be able to give, any shot at all. Because right now, the favorite, I think, is Tampa Bay, and Baker Mayfield is playing with a giant chip on his shoulder, right? I mean, they didn't pay him. They pissed him off. He doesn't want to talk contract now that the regular season's ready to be, underway. They lose Mike Smith. They still have Chris Godwin and Mika Buka, right? Jalen McMillan down there. Who's the other guy they picked up? They got a third-round draft choice. I can't remember the kid's name. But anyway, that being said, Hurst. I just can't remember Hurst. Hurst is the other guy. But that's a team that most people feel is going to kind of win the division. Maybe Carolina being a close second. So there's a little bit of drama there. But okay, if you're a Bijan Robinson fan, go for it, man. Nothing wrong with that. This is from Mark. Mark says, are you rooting against the Houston Texans because of what C.J. Stroud did to you guys years ago by not giving an autograph as a quarterback because they don't do that for veterans? That was some of his people. We were in Vegas. His people, I said it's for veterans and military members we're doing for an auction. And he goes, well, you're not signing for the military. It wasn't C.J. Stroud, but it was his people. So am I rooting actively against him? No. Because some of the guys on that team I like. I know they picked up Dalton Schultz a couple of years back from Dallas. I like Dalton Schultz. And, anybody with the name Tank, they got Tank Dell down there, even though he's banged up right now. They still got Tank Dell and Xavier Hutchinson and those guys. I'm not actively rooting against them. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a DeMeco Ryans fan. I like DeMeco Ryans, man. So I like him as a head coach. It's not that I'm sitting there actively rooting against him, but I'm not necessarily rooting for him, but good storyline. So, but I appreciate you remembering. That's for sure. Appreciate you remembering that. 877-867-1670. Let's go to John listening to us in Jersey. John, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, bro, how you doing, man? Listen, I got two things. One, I want to echo what my buddy George said yesterday about the long snapper. Keep that guy. Get rid of the other guy. Everything's smooth right now. We don't want to mess it up. And the other thing, bro, what do you think about the Packers? They're going to be scrimmaging the Cardinals and playing them. You think there'll be talk about getting Josh Sweat still?
That could maybe spark some talk. I'm sure that somebody up there is going to cover that and ask that question. Now, whether or not it actually initiates any kind of discussion, we'll wait and see. I don't think at this point there's any trades going down, but I'm certainly thinking that let's say the Cardinals season goes terribly, terribly wrong and the Packers step up and say, hey, we'd love to bring Josh Sweat over. What would it take to get him away?
and they need another edge rusher, then yeah, I think it maybe can spark something in that sense. I don't think there's anything to it right now, but because most teams don't start trading right now. That's you're pretty much your team is your team at this point because they're still trying to figure out who they're going to cut. But after that, and maybe going into that first week of October, you might then reignite some of those discussions. But I think the Cardinals have stated they're not giving them up, and Goody didn't seem to address that at all. And that's not that he would, but he didn't address that at all. So I kind of think that maybe they're looking over that fence, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Just my gut reaction.
Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering because how much confidence do you have in the line right now?
Defensive front, I like the interior. I don't know what to expect out of the exterior. I know that. I know that Lucas Van Ness played well at the end of the season, but he's not Micah Parsons. I know that Brenton Cox Jr. shows flashes at times, but it's really, to me, it's going to be more pressure coming up the gut from Hargrave and Devontae Wyatt and Edrin Cooper and Zaire Franklin, and those guys in combination with the edges then maybe can get pressure on a quarterback. But it's not going to be one guy getting the job done.
Right. Bill, one shout out to the Little League World Series. Bayonne I don't live near Bayonne. I used to live in Newark, but they had a guy that pitched against them over the other day. The guy from Iowa, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The left-handed kid.
Yep.
Oh, and he hit a homer, the kid. Oh my God, they're good. Iowa, that might win the whole thing.
Yep.
They have 2 pitchers.
Yep. Good. They're really, really good. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting here with Japan and Mexico on right now, and Japan's really good too, no doubt. Thanks, bud. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, they've got. It's been fun. I have to admit, I love the couple of weeks of the Little League World Series. I always have it on in studio. Always do. I enjoy it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Yeah, Ty Batten over there in the cheap seat says, hope Josh Sweat's going to be a Packer by the end of the week. Not going to happen by the end of the week. Not going to happen by the end of the week. Right now, you are who you are. But not going to happen by the end of the week. Just an FYI. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if it was. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Scott in Green Bay says, yep, they got my wallet. I plan on getting a Tucker Craft Rivals jersey. Bill in Wanakee, I get the more merch angle, but I feel like I'm turning into my old man yelling at the clouds when it comes to the City Connect throwback alternate unis. Most of them just suck, in my opinion. Yeah. They're just throwing colors out there and mix and matching, just trying, Again, I got your wallet. I got your wallet. That's okay, though. I mean, if that's what you like, that's fine. I don't hold it against you. Go for it, man. If that's your bag, go for it. Hell yeah. Do it in a heartbeat. Aaron. Aaron says, first and foremost, why you hating on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who's hating on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me an example where I was hating on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron. The last email that I read was the one that was saying that Aaron Rodgers would turn on Mike McCarthy, not yours truly. So So other than that, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, my second storyline is going to be the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to fail miserably this year, getting a tougher schedule and not being able to get all those turnovers. If they do, I would be shocked. My third is San Francisco. They've always been so incredibly arrogant about their winning ways, yet this year they're going to be injury riddled again, and we're going to see Shanahan eventually get fired. Not a Shanahan fan from the very beginning. Aaron, appreciate the email. Aaron listening to us in Milwaukee, by the way. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it very much. Mark says, my 3 big stories: 1, the Green Bay Packers; 2, the Dallas Cowboys; and 3, the dismal downfall of, again, the New York Jets firing yet another head coach and continuing the turmoil that is New York. Well, if you're going to talk about New York, you kind of have to talk about the Giants a little bit too, right? Because can Scatteraboo come back and beat a man? Can he be the guy? Can Jackson Dart not take a hit to the head? I mean, stay out of the concussion protocol. Every time he goes down, they seem to want to throw him into the blue tent. Can they be better with Harbaugh? Harbaugh has certainly brought more of a military-esque style to their training camp. That's for sure. Guys are talking about it being tougher and more disciplined and such. So, yeah, I mean, can they overcome all of that? Good points. And then real quick, this is from Teddy. Teddy, by the way, listening to us on the north side of Madison.
I didn't even know Madison had really a, quote, north side. I thought north side was basically the lake. But that being said, he said, I am fascinated with the Indianapolis Colts following Jonathan Taylor's career. I can't wait to see him run the football again this year. I hope that he can break the 2,000-yard mark. He was well on his way last year before everything started to break down. It's a long season and injuries are a part of it. I understand that, but he's got so much talent. I just wish the Packers would have picked him up. My number 2 storyline is whether or not Seattle is even going to be able to get back to the postseason. They lost a few guys defensively in the offseason, and I just don't have a lot of belief in Sam Darnold. Do you? And third, he said, let's see what the Arizona Cardinals do without Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's a quality quarterback, and he's going to elevate the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Arizona Cardinals are in for a rude awakening without him. Well, it had kind of run its course in Arizona, and they didn't want to pay him because he's always hurt. And I've said a good Kyler Murray can be good, but being always hurt is and not available. You can't make the club from the tub, and you can't make that kind of money. So that's part of the reason that they've parted ways with him. As far as following Arizona, no. But man, you're following a division leader and a champion, and following a craptastic team along the way. You got a whole diverse, and that's your right, man. That's your prerogative. But you got a diverse set of follows right there. And as far as, again, going back to anything that was said disparagingly about the Pittsburgh Steelers, are like, no, I don't remember that. Let's do this. We'll break. We'll come back. We got more to get to. More of your storylines following in the NFL. Anything else you want to throw at us today, you can. Mike Clemens coming up in a little bit less than a half an hour from now, so stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends out there at Smoke on the Water, the second stop this year on the 19th annual Big Unit Poker Run. Have you gotten registered yet? Go to bigunitfoundation.com, bigunitfoundation.com. Click on the events page. You can get registered. But they're going to have good food for us waiting. You park over at the school across the street. You walk over. You go outside on the deck by the bourbon bar. You go downstairs to below deck. You stay in the main restaurant, wherever it is your heart desires. Get some good food. Get a good beverage. It's going to be a good time. And that is our friends Joe and Ellen and the gang out there at Smoke on the Water, BBQ Okachi on Wisconsin Avenue and Okachi Lake. Can't wait to get out there a week from Sunday. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Losing in 30 seconds.
Welcome. Good to have you on board with us today. Still get a lot of people that had a chance to come out and see us, or maybe even missed us when we were in Door County. But I've had probably, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 emails regarding Lake Fire Winery. People have said how much they never knew it was there. They discovered it, love it, and appreciate the heads up. But Lake Fire Winery, right there with that beautiful view of Lake Michigan, right there on the shores on the Bailey's Harbor side of Door County. But also when you're heading up towards Marinette, Wisconsin, don't forget about stopping in Peshtigo at Forgotten Fire Winery. That's the original. That's where everything's actually made. ForgottenFireWinery.com, LakeFireWinery.com, 2 great places, live music, award-winning wines. They do tastings, and you can buy it by the glass, by the bottle, whatever it happens to be. They've got private events capability, and people, I've seen everything from wedding receptions to engagement parties and all that kind of good stuff. Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo, Lake Fire Winery in Bailey's Harbor, Wisconsin, right there in Door County. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's go back to the phone calls. Let's talk to Brian, listening to us in Appleton. Brian, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Good, Bill. Hey, I have a 2-part question for you today.
Okay.
Part A. If you're developing a defense from scratch, are you choosing Quay Walker or Zaire Franklin? And Part B, if you're choosing a special teams coach from scratch, are you choosing Rich Bisaccia or Cam Accord?
I'm going to go with Zaire Franklin and Cam Accord. Because, and I'll tell you why, and appreciate the phone call. So first and foremost, Cam Accord has just a different level of energy. I really love the knowledge that, Bisaccia brings to the table overall. But the results of Rich Bisaccia being here were not good. Okay. They never got above 22nd overall. So I'm going to go with Cam Accord because I'm going to go with the great unknown and the level of energy he brings. But Zaire Franklin, if you look at longevity, you look at the history when it comes to injuries or lack thereof, I'd go with Zaire Franklin. And Quay Walker, sometimes when the chips are down, he didn't show up. So I would go with those 2 guys. I hope I'm proven right as this season unfolds. Maybe that's something I should put away for a file and come back to it in about 10 weeks, We got another hour yet to go. Mike Clemens coming up in 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michael Show right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in New York. It's where they're going to take on the Mets in a series starting tonight. The Crew comes in off of taking 2 of 3 against the Braves. Kyle Harrison gets the ball for Milwaukee. He's 10-3 with a 2.84 ERA. Hasn't allowed a run in 2 of his last 3 starts. The Mets counter with Zach Thornton. He's 3-4 with a 3.04 ERA. He's given up at least 3 runs in 4 of his last 5 outings. Milwaukee's leading the AL Central, stands at 5.5 games on the Cubs. First pitch is set for 6:10. Turning to the Packers, they're going to hold a joint practice tomorrow with the Cardinals in Green Bay. There have been some big fights in joint practices already this year. Coach Matt LaFleur says for the most part, it hasn't been an issue for the Packers during his tenure.
I think there's a lot of unknowns anytime you go into joint practices. I don't care who you're going against, but we've had, fortunately, I know last year there was an incident with Seattle, but I think back the year before when we played Baltimore, there was no issues. So that's all we're looking to do is have good, clean work, and hopefully it's productive for both teams.
Again, it'll be the Packers and Cardinals joint practice tomorrow. The teams will then meet on Friday night in the final preseason game for both.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Well, the Badgers less than 2 weeks out from the start of their season against number 4 Notre Dame at Lambeau Field. The Irish have been installed as 20.5-point favorites as they return the most production of any team in the country. That includes Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback C.J. Carr. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Final hour of the program on a Tuesday edition. So glad you are with us. Appreciate you hanging out with us. I got to admit, when I got the north side of Madison call, Ronald says that's like Warner Park area where the Mallards play. Was listening to some Jets radio the other day, and they think they're going to be 2-0 to start the season against the Titans and the Packers. Okay. See how that plays out. Maybe the Titans. Maybe they can get the Titans. I don't put any stock in what the Jets do until they start winning. And we're talking like 10 years worth. So, not happening. 877-867-1670. Hey, Bill, this is from Aaron. He said the picture at the bottom is from the Brewers team shop. It goes to show the teams are going to do anything and everything to have people buy anything. I'm with you, though. Normal uniforms should be worn. If I purchase any kind of a jersey, it's got to be the normal jersey. For the Packers, you can either go green or their away whites. Both are good. The Packers are one of those teams where wearing their regular jerseys are actually also wearing historic jerseys. True. Yeah, he sent me a picture of the Brewers. Did you see the Brewers have? It's basically the ice cream. It's an upside down Brewers hat where they do the ice cream in it at the ballpark. You get the helmet of ice cream, and it's got the ice cream on it with sprinkles. And I guarantee you they made the ice cream vanilla because otherwise it would look like a helmet full of crap. So if it was brown. So because of the chocolate swirl and what it looks like. But yeah, they got an ice cream, upside down ice cream helmet on a ball cap. So I agree. Look, anything to make a buck. That's like they went with the Robin, I guess it's Robin Yount hat, which is the Robin bird wearing Robin's number, and a Brewers hat. It's Robin Yount. Okay. I never thought as Robin as a bird. But oh well. Okay. Hey, if it's going to make you money, go for it. Right? Let's see here. EJ from Wrightstown, formerly NKY in Liberty Township, Ohio, which I know where both of those are out of the 513. Packers should concentrate on getting Tucker Kraft extended instead of trading for Josh Sweat, who is looking for his own big contract extension. Oh, believe me, they are. Completely agree, EJ. Completely agree. They are working, talking about, discussing what they're going to do and what they're going to pay Tucker Kraft. Absolutely. Here's the risk you run is let's just say you don't get it done before the season gets started, right? And Tucker Kraft is that guy that says, hey, I'm going to play. You know, I mean, I know what I'm going into, but I'm going to play. And he goes out and he has an unbelievable start to the season, just like he did last year. The number just go with every pass, with every touchdown, with every broken tackle and big run, the price just goes up. So you'd really like to get it done now if you can. Not to mention you're doing what's right. Give him peace of mind. Give yourself peace of mind. You know where he's at. You know, you believe in him. So, but I would do it. I would get it done because let's just say the first 4 games of the season, he's got 5 touchdowns. He's averaging damn near 100 yards via reception. He's blocking guys and knocking guys on their ass. I just, you're looking at it going, okay, this guy's going to be the best tight end in football. And now the price just went up. He went from being maybe top 10 to top, and the price just went up exponentially. You run that risk. Now, on the other hand, you gamble and he doesn't have a great season. Price goes down. I get it. So he runs that risk too. But yeah, usually it doesn't go in that favor. Usually it doesn't go in a player's favor like that or against the player like that. Usually the player comes out, just balls out, man. Just balls out. And EJ, I know where Liberty Township is down there in Ohio. I'm familiar with it, very, as a matter of fact. 877-867-1670. Got Mike Clemens coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that.
Do you want some sad breaking news, Bill?
Give me the sad breaking news.
Kate ran in here to Martin has passed away.
No.
I know, right?
Really?
80 years young, I think.
Wow. I just saw her give an interview. Oh, my God. Yeah.
I thought she was going to live another 15 years.
Oh, my God. Now, obviously, she's had a ton of plastic surgery. She did not look 80. But, oh, my God, she just had a sit-down interview where she looked and acted great. Man, I wonder what happened to her. I wonder if it was just a heart attack or if there was some kind of an illness that maybe we didn't know about, or maybe she was under the weather and I just didn't realize it. Good Lord. What level of icon is she? You know what I mean? This isn't Elvis and this isn't Michael Jackson. But is she on the same level as like a Frank Sinatra when it comes to
music? I mean, women in country music, who I can't even think of Patsy Cline. She died really young though.
Yeah. This would be like Reba McEntire.
But I don't, not to sports talk radio this thing. I don't think Reba exists without Dolly Parton, probably.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's just, good Lord, that's big in the world of music. That's huge.
Probably like George Jones level. I remember his funeral. It'll be like that.
I bet you she's bigger because of all the barriers she broke. That's huge. Wow. Sad, but I again, we all want to say what happened, but wow.
No, I think it was abrupt because I'm just reading tweets. She just did that interview where she talked about all the things she still wanted to accomplish.
Right.
So I don't think she was, unless she was just, putting on a face, I don't think she was sick.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. Brian Seaver, her nephew, said the video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It's an honor, and an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But the sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in heaven. So Dolly Parton passing away, her nephew making that announcement on Instagram just a little while ago. She was 80 years old. They did not provide a cause of death, but she apparently had previously disclosed that she did have some health concerns. They won't say what those concerns are. She said earlier this month, she was supposed to be at the opening of one of the new rides in her theme park, Dollywood. And she went on there and said, I've told you before, all my fans, that I have a few health issues. And sometimes I get a little bit dizzy and get a little dehydrated. Therefore, she could not be at the opening of that ride. Also, they say that her immediate family will have a, quote, small private service for her. Her friends and family are encouraged to pay tribute to Dolly on social media by tagging her posts, leaving her messages on her website. In lieu of flowers, Parton family asked for donations to be made to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Wow. Man, that's pretty large. That's pretty large. Dolly Parton dead at the age of 80. Whew. What a year, man. We've lost, God, so many, right? So many notable deaths in 2026 already, you know? So, Dolly Parton, dead at the age of 80. That's sad. And again, I thought she'd outlive us all, you know? Thought she would. T.K. Carter, the actor, he passed away earlier this year. Bob Weir passed away earlier this year. He was an actor as well. Lou Holtz has passed away this year. He was another one that passed away. So plenty of people in 2026 that we've lost along the way. Yeah. Let's do this. We got Mike Clemens coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. This is from Chuck. Chuck just said, did you hear about the passing of Dolly Parton? What a sad day for country music and music lovers everywhere. My three storylines going into this NFL season. He says, number one, whether or not Jordan Love is going to be able to take the next step. Number two, I want to see Josh Allen eventually bust through and get to a Super Bowl. Otherwise, his career is going to be a whole lot of close but no cigars. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. I want to see if Joe Burrow can remain healthy and guide Cincinnati back into the postseason. Remember, Joe Burrow has actually been to a Super Bowl, even though he didn't win one. And I want to see whether or not the New York Giants are going to be able to win with a new head coach and a new attitude, and with a Jackson Dart court-led quarterback team where he takes too many chances too often. Can they rein him in? There you go. Chuck, appreciate the email. Thank you very much. A lot of good storylines today. A lot of people that are kind of thinking out loud. I like that. I like it a lot. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Yeah, right. Jason says over in the live stream, Dolly's going to be missed. Dolly Parton bigger than life. Angela, Dolly Parton, oh my God, no. This is from Kent, who says, I can't believe that kind of an icon has just passed away. Is this a remember where you were when moment? Probably not, but certainly just a tick below it. Great combination of people that you mentioned there. We all remember where we were when JFK got shot, or when Michael Jackson passed away, or when Elvis passed away. And then he's got too young for JFK and Elvis. But certainly when Michael Jackson passed away, and now I'll remember where I was when Dolly Parton passed away. Same iconic level. There you go. All right, let's do this. We got Mike Clemens going to be joining us when we return. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at LD's Barbecue. Big bike night going on at LD's tonight. Big bike night, one of the last ones of the year. So get down to East Troy, Wisconsin. If you're not going over to Five Corners and joining us over there, I'm going to try to get down to LD's tonight, too. I'm going to try to do both of them in East Troy, Wisconsin. Getting yourself some of the barbecue, enjoying some of the music down there tonight. It's a big gathering tonight, big thank you gathering tonight down at LD's Barbecue on Main Street in East Troy. Go to ldsbbq.com. Follow them over there on Facebook and Instagram as well. ldsbbq.com. That's ldsbbq.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
This is actually my first joint practice of my career. So, just going in just with the mindset of I'm working on my game, getting better. And I'm also a firm believer that it's okay to not keep your cool, So it's just part of the sport. And, you just go out there and do your thing. Play with the edge. Always teeter the line.
This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable. Just a mile from Lambeau Field. Yeah, boy. Check out our friends at the Bay Motel and the family restaurant right next door. Homestyle cooking 7 days a week. For all the information, go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Again, baymotelgreenbay.com, or call them directly. All you got to do is call them directly, 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441. Our guy, Mike Clemens, joining us on the hotline. Michael, what's up, pal?
I'm good. I'm shocked because I just heard you guys break the news that Dolly Parton has passed away. And I saw that report too, where she did a bunch of interviews like, I'm having little problems. Everything's going to be okay. I'll be back. Just taking a little time off. And here she's, how old was she? Did they
80.
say?
80 years old.
So it was like 1995, 96. I went down to the National Association of Broadcasters convention held in New Orleans. Fabulous. Milton Berle was still there.
Oh, wow.
I got a whole bunch of stories. Not unlike, it's not that way anymore, but not unlike what we get every year when we go to Super Bowl and you do the show live from Radio Row, right?
Right.
So there's this one group of a bunch of radio station owners, and I want to say, okay, I want to see what these radio station owners, what they're talking about. The keynote speaker was Dolly Parton, and you're thinking, oh, come on, they're bringing on the blonde, for these. No, Miss Dolly Parton went up to the podium, put on some bifocals, opened up a folder, and talked about her portfolio of 12 radio stations she owns across Tennessee and across that midsection of the country, and talked about the breaks that they need from the FCC in order to sustain ownership and things that they need. I mean, that was one of the best business presentations I've ever seen. And she's wearing that all gold suit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she put on those bifocals, and that woman was all about business.
Yeah,
And I recently
heard
met
that about
somebody.
her.
Yeah, let's see. There's a player that I talked to that's related to her around here, and I can't remember if it's Brewers or Packers. But and that knew her, so whatever. I'm here to talk to you about the Green Bay Packers, and here's a quote that I want to play from Brian Gutekunst that got kind of cut off last time we were on the air. But I want to remind folks that we've joked before, like 20 years ago in the big old Cledius Hunt days, where he missed a whole mini camp because he was out fishing. He forgot it was this week.
Right.
You know? And they were frantic. They thought that maybe he'd gotten hurt or died or something on the way. And, you know, the old joke about, well, you can't make the club if you're in the hot tub, right?
Right, exactly.
And, you know, Gutekunst is here to say, yeah, even though you're wondering what's going on with Aaron Banks, your highly paid left guard right now, these guys are miserable until they're back there on the field. This is what Gutekunst had to say.
You know, when players miss time, that's tough. That's tough on these guys. They're young guys, and they want to be out there so badly. You kind of saw Tuck get out there for the first time the other day, no different than Marshawn. When they get out there and they're playing football, they're usually at their happiest. You know, so whenever you see guys go through things and then get back out there, you can kind of see the joy in them, and I'm happy for him. He's doing a great job with his opportunities. I think he's got a chance to help us this year.
Mike, and I believe that. I mean, I know we were just talking about that. Tucker Kraft is going to play. He wants to be out there. He also needs a contract, to be quite honest with you, you know?
Yeah, that's going on. That's going on, no doubt as well. And I believe Brian, when he says where Tucker is in his timeline has nothing to do with negotiations. So that just indicates to me, like, yeah, this has got nothing to do. It's all about money.
Right.
It's about getting paid. It's about I want to be thought about as number one at the tight end position right now. But let's talk about quarterback. And after Jordan Love, and you got Tyrod Taylor out there, this Kyle McCord kid has looked really good in some of these games, right? The way he's moved the ball,
right?
And yet, you know, some of the early 53-man roster predictions have got him not being quarterback free, them not saving him. And maybe they're going to hope that they can get him onto the practice squad. We talked to Kyle McCord to the quarterback coach. Or first we talked to Kyle about the improvement that he's made since he got here when we watched him during OTAs. And he credited Luke Getsy, his quarterback coach, for getting him through a lot this summer.
Getz is a man. Obviously, he's been around a lot of great players, Aaron and Jordan, and then obviously his play calling experience too. So there's not really a look where I feel like in this offense he hasn't seen. So he's just full of knowledge and coaches me pretty hard, which I like. You know, even on good reps, there's something to learn from, which I appreciate that.
Yeah, look, Kyle McCord has been somewhat impressive. I mean, a lot of people are already talking about him, and I know that, you know, they've looked at him and Tyrod Taylor, and we all assume Tyrod Taylor is going to be the backup, but Kyle McCord's looked good at times, man.
He has, and yet, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to go to the 36-year-old, you know, veteran Taylor that's been around, you know, 16 years in the NFL. Now, Jordan Love is looking better, even in his own way, working on his balance, working on when he takes a couple of steps in the pocket that he gets flat-footed. He's not thrown from the tops of his tippy toes, and maybe improving his accuracy that way. But the other night against the Broncos, I thought there's a couple times where I saw Tyrod Taylor bring the ball down too soon. You know, like, dude, you know, and maybe it's because you're a little under pressure. The Broncos left their ones and twos on that defensive line, very good defensive line out there, maybe a little longer than the Packers would have liked. But I asked Luke Getsy, the quarterback coach, guy had been an offensive coordinator for the Raiders and the Bears. Did you think Tyrod, you know, took off running a little too soon on some plays against the Broncos Friday night?
Yeah, it was definitely a mixture of both. I think there's a play that stands out that maybe he could have progressed a little bit cleaner, but I think the other ones were really cool reactions by him and just shows why he's been in this league for so long, where he's going to be able to make plays and extend plays with his feet. And, we just got to get the communication amongst each other, because I think some of those we probably can go get completions just to connect, the connectivity between the receiver and himself. But I thought for the most part, he's done a great job. He commands the huddle. Just even the touchdown pass, right? That's a run play that he sees and he makes a great throw, and Shep does a great job with his feet.
Mike, I'm impressed with what they're doing with the quarterback position. We all hope we don't even have to talk about it, but I'm also extremely interested in the running backs, the offensive line, the work between the two, what they've got going on, because I just think offensively it's for at least a while until the defense gets kind of its feet under it. The offense is going to have to be what we really pay attention to.
And one more thing about quarterback, because let's think about this, Bill. If you can hang on to Kyle McCord and spend one more year, then he could be a great back. I'll tell you, just talking to the kid, there's a lot of Brock Purdy in him from the 49ers, just the way he kind of carries himself out there. So if Tyrod's there for this year, but then you can move on and bring in McCord as QB2 next year, I think that would be an ideal situation moving forward. Now, you talk about the running backs. Josh Jacobs has missed some time now. We haven't seen him in practice actually he got out there for a few snaps yesterday, dealing with a groin injury. Of course, there's the legal thing. Marshawn Lloyd, looked very good the other night. Marshawn Lloyd, to me, is looking a little more almost like Aaron Jones. Not quite as fast. Certainly not as fast as Amon Green.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to use him like an Aaron Jones type. Like, you're not going to see. The thing about Aaron Jones is he is so good, even when he was a rookie, at dissecting what's going to happen pre-snap, where the linebackers are, where the gap might be. And Lloyd's still, that's still a learned skill for him so far. So, you're talking to the offensive coordinator, Adam Stenovich. How about, though, Pierre Strong Jr., number 22? I mean, he looked good running the ball up the middle the other night. A 68 kickoff return. He had a good showing against the Broncos. Here's what Steno said.
Yeah. I mean, P, obviously, he made some big plays, not only in the kicking game, but did a nice job running the ball. We got to get him going a little bit more in protections on third down, things like that. Get him the ball in his hands in the passing game just to see how he does there. But he's done a nice job. So I'm very encouraged by what I've seen from him so far.
The wide receiving core, Mike, interesting on the depth. We know who your starting three are going to be, maybe even how it goes to 4, 5, 6. But there's going to be a couple of guys there that they're probably going to need throughout the season. And one of the guys turning a few heads, Isaiah Nair, right?
Yeah, Isaiah Nair. Because, if you go Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, your top three, like you mentioned, Sky Moore, that dude's made the team, And that's not going to be a McCole Hardman like last year. Kind of a shock to me when he was cut. Moore will be a returner, and is they're using him in all kinds of ways in offense right now. Savion Williams, Bo Melton is your top gunner on special teams and a receiver. Would they keep 7 receivers? Because you've got as you mentioned Isaiah Nair in there. He's been doing a really good job, and then Will Shepherd.
Will Shepherd, yeah.
The guy, they've kept him around for a year, and he had that touchdown catch the other night, in fingertips in the grass. But right now, it just looks like they're too deep at wide receiver, and I don't know if they could keep that guy. And I talked to Isaiah Nair yesterday about his performance against the Broncos.
I got here around August 5th or 6th, about around this time last year, as a developmental guy. I feel like, last year getting that opportunity to, kind of learn and, get to that speed that I need to get to. So I think it was definitely helpful. I kind of had an idea of what it was going to be like coming in. So, I just took it as an opportunity to grow. And I feel like I'm in a much better spot now than I was last year.
Hey, Mike, real quick, what about Michael Sturdivant? Because there's a lot of people really excited when he came on. What do they think of him, do you know?
They're excited because he's had some professional backgrounds. He's made a couple of spectacular catches I thought that he's behind these two guys, Will Shepherd and Nair. And then he got his bell rung in the Broncos game. He was under observation for concussion over the weekend, but he was back at practice yesterday. Tomorrow night will be very important for number 87 to see what he can do moving forward.
Let's do this. We got Mike Clemens on the line with us. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got more to get to, so stay tuned. I want to talk a little bit more in depth when we return. Hey, don't forget, coming up tomorrow night, Wednesday Night Live, back at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Cherry Pie takes the stage at 7 o'clock tomorrow night at the Bud Pavilion. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, August 26th, Cherry Pie. And don't forget, Wednesday, September 9th. Wednesday, September 9th is when Bella Kane takes the stage. The Bud Pavilion back and rocking. 2 more big events before you get into Harvest Fair, and then they shut it down for the season, which makes me sad. But that being said, Wednesday Night Live is back. We're not dead yet. Summer still lives on. Cherry Pie coming up tomorrow night at the State Fair Park and the Bud Pavilion. Gates open up at 6. Music starts at 7, and we rock the house all night long. More of the Bill Michaels Show with Mike Clemens coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I think one cut down is phenomenal. I hated the 2 cut downs because you were cutting guys that were going to play 60 snaps in that last game, and then so you ended up having to play a lot of guys you weren't maybe going to play, or you were trying to rest to get healthy for the regular season. So the one cut down is very beneficial because how we build our emergency board, maybe some claims, trades, whatever might happen, but how we build our emergency board and how we're going to get through the year is really built off this preseason for the most part.
They are in need. I say we, as a society, are in need of people that do hands-on stuff. And that is our friends at Team Appliance. Appliances, they're more sophisticated, more complicated than ever, and they are looking for good people that are looking to kind of work on their own. And that is teamappliance.net. If you're looking for a startup business, if you're looking for a business to get into, and there is a desperate need right now for people that are into that. It doesn't matter male or female, they just need people. And if you're thinking about it, go to teamappliance.net. You can start your own business. You can work out of your car. You can work out of your home. You can do your other job until you get this thing up and running. But they are needing people right now because that's an area of the industry that just it's bereft of quality people anymore. And with more and more people going to tech services and doing other things and internet and all that stuff, they need people that are willing to kind of put their name on the line and be able to get the job done. And so if you want to give them a call, 608-406-4256. That's teamappliance.net. Get a hold of Phil. Phil's based out of La Crosse. Get a hold of Phil. He's happy to answer all your questions. 608-406-4256, or simply go to teamappliance.net. Teamappliance.net. And get yourself going, man. Start your own business, and man, it is lucrative if you're good and you do it right and you pay attention. 608-406-4256, or go to teamappliance.net. That is teamappliance.net. Again, joining us on the hotline, our guy Mike Clemens standing by. And so, Michael, I mean, look, you've got this third and final preseason game upcoming. They're trying to figure out who is and isn't going to be a part of this squad by the time it's all said and done. And they're trying to fill out that tight end room, specifically with the knowledge of Luke Musgrave. We don't know when he's going to be back, and they've been relatively thin, so they're looking at different guys.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave suffered a neck injury. He has not talked to us, and that doesn't mean there's anything going on. That's just kind of the way Luke operates. But it's something that happened like during the off season, and he still continues to be on the PUP. Where that goes from here, we don't know yet. The Packers probably know. I mean, this is kind of starting to feel like Jair Alexander, right?
Right.
And remember, people would think there was something personal going on at the time. And then, a year later when Jair goes into Players Tribune and talks about just the nightmare of that knee injury that he had.
Yeah.
And I was desperately trying to stay with the Packers or make it with the Ravens and that kind of thing. That's what these players are going through. That's probably the kind of concerns that the drama that Musgrave's going through. In the meantime, yesterday, hey, you had 13 personnel in your practice and pass. How about that? Because you got Tucker Kraft out there, you got Josh Wiley, number 81, and then Drake Dabney, who we talked to on your show last week, who I said, you know what, Bill, this is a guy I think it's got a shot. And then Friday night against the Broncos, number 49 was out there starting. So after a year of practice squad that they brought him on last season, developing, and now with Musgrave going down, they keep about 3 tight ends. That seems to be pretty. So right now, you talk to Drake Dabney about, with these roster cuts coming, where's your confidence that maybe they could keep you in this thing?
I feel confident. Obviously, whatever happens. I mean, I leave it in God's hands. So I just control what I can control, do what I can on the field, and just make sure I'm bringing the best I can each and every day.
Is that hard, just like as a player right now, just the pressure mounting, or do you feel like you handle that pretty well?
I feel like I handled it pretty well. I think I've definitely grown a lot from last year, my rookie season, where that was always kind of in the back of my mind, and I was worried about that. But I think just kind of over time, being cut once already and kind of knowing how things go, knowing the business of it, you can kind of relax and kind of knowing that if you do what you're supposed to do, I mean, I have faith that I'm going to be where I need to be when I need to be there. So that kind of allows me to rest in that and just go out and play football and have fun.
Mike, the guard position is something that's rather interesting because there was Belton, and then they're using him as a swing tackle, and then obviously with Banks with the knee tendonitis, and he's been interesting. And Jacob Monk all of a sudden looks like, they suddenly noticed who Jacob Monk is, and then there's Jagger Burton. I mean, what's going on with the guard issue?
Offensive line has got to be better for Josh Jacobs, for pass protection, for Jordan Love, if you're going to get past the Bears in the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Like you did last year. Jordan Morgan, so far so good, holding down at left tackle in for Rasheed Walker, who moved on in free agency. Aaron Banks has been dealing with his tendonitis in the knee, but he's been getting back out there at practice, so it looks like he's on track for week 1 to start to come back at left guard. Then you got Sean Ryan, who you paid in the offseason now as your new center moving forward. And your right tackle, Zach Bako-Belawele, who's recovering from knee surgery. He's been 50-50 in practice, but again, on target to probably be ready for you week 1. So that leaves right guard open. And we've talked about the excitement for Jagger Burton, the kid you got in the draft out of Kentucky. Anthony Belton, the big kid that's really probably more of a tackle. He might not be on the starting 5. Certainly he's going to make the cut. John Williams is a guy that you had in a late-round pick last year who was off all last year with an unusual injury. I haven't talked to him. The rocket scientist, that was actually what he was studying in college. And Darian Kennard, he has improved. They picked him up as a free agent veteran from the Eagles last year. He's improved, so he's expected to make the cut. By the way, thanks to the listener who just texted us, that's the guy who's got this relation to Dolly Parton, who you said has passed away today. His aunt was a distant cousin to Dolly, but their family is part of Tennessee, and they knew her. So that brings up what you got on offensive line. So the question is, who is going to win the starting right guard job? And it looks like Jacob Monk, when you talk to Adam Stenovich, the offensive coordinator, about the battle between him and the rookie, Jagger Burton.
Yeah, so Monk, love his play style. He's a nasty dude. So watching him play has been really fun. Guard, he can play guard, he can play center. Obviously, Jagger played center in college. We haven't gotten him as much center reps as I would like to have. We're going to try and focus on that this week to try and just keep him working in there in case that has to come up later on in the year. But just, you get a young guy moving positions like Jagger has, there's going to be some fundamental things that he has to work through and figure out. Sometimes the hard way is the only way you can really do that. So just getting him out there and playing, I think, is just super valuable for him in the long run.
What was the feeling coming out of Denver with the offensive line after their second game playing together and moving matching pieces?
Well, I brought that up yesterday to LaFleur because everyone wants to talk about him and his brother Mike and fights and joint practices and blah, blah, blah. And hello, LaFleur was going to talk to us Saturday, and he canceled about an hour before for some reason. So we talked to all of his other offensive coaches, so we didn't really get a chance to break down the game with LaFleur. So I waited till we got all the other questions out of the way and said, oh, by the way, that opening drive, your first team offense, this is the team that you're going to put up against Brian Flores' defense in the Vikings week 1. There was this number 99, Zach Allen from the Broncos, that was in your backfield 4 times, and that one time back-to-back. He had the rookie, Jagger Burton, for lunch. I mean, this guy was in Jordan Love's face. What was your take on that? And at the long run, at least your offense turned it around, and that touchdown pass for 11 yards to Marshawn Lloyd. Here's what the coach said.
Yeah, I thought overall it was pretty positive. Certainly, he's a really good player. I think he is probably undervalued around the league. I mean, he's been disruptive. Every time we've gone against him, he's been a problem. So there's a lot of things that we certainly can do better from a technical standpoint and clean up to not allow that to happen. Overall, I was pleased with their offense.
They scored. I mean, overall, I get it. But, yeah, there's still, Mike, I look at the offensive line. I went back and watched it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. They don't have stability up front right now. They kind of know who their tackles are.
That was a great test, Bill. That was a great test against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Because Sean Payton was playing his dudes.
Yeah.
And you were able to put up these, first team, second team guys. You're trying to get Jordan Love's offense in rhythm. You're trying to get Marshawn Lloyd to see these plays for real, and then you're evaluating these guys. And that first half was extremely valuable to them the other night. Let's take it over the other side of the ball. And in terms of your defensive line, can you stop the run? And it looks like Javon Hargrave is going to be your lead dog. Kind of your Ryan Pickett type of dude at 33 years old.
Right.
Devontae Wyatt is back. Carl Brooks, Warren Brinson injured his calf muscle during warm-ups before the Broncos game, so he's currently out. Chris McCullough is a kid that you picked up in the draft, and Jonathan Ford is now back with the Packers after some time with the Bears. He seems to have improved as a backup nose tackle. That might mean Nazir Stackhouse is going to be cut, a familiar name from last year. Then you got the edge rushers with Lucas Van Ness, Brenton Cox Jr., Danny Dennis Sutton, who's coming back from an injury, and Colin Oliver, number 45, he's not impressed me. Not impressed me, even though he was a draft pick from last year. I'm curious about that. There might be something going on there. And then the next thing to talk about then is a defensive back. And you brought this up in terms of the coverages. I thought some of the coverages were good. Yes, there was a couple of wide open targets for the Broncos the other night on offense. But how about Kamal Hayden, who comes back from the broken leg and the dislocated ankle, and he had 5 tackles, 2 for tackles for losses. I was kidding around with him yesterday after watching the film over the weekend.
Kamal, congratulations on your new residence in the backfield of the Broncos offense.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So when you're back there, I'm thinking, oh, no, wait a minute. Is he supposed to be containing out there?
Yeah, that was instinct. That was, I had a read. That was the right read, and that was my gap, and I just kind of went off of it. It was an instinct thing.
Jump over the line, right?
Right. Definitely. That is all it is. But that was kind of more so just a little film study down the distance, situational football, and then read my keys, and just ultimately going with the right read.
Mike, they really haven't had, a lot of, when it comes to problems in camp, we'll say, between each other. It hasn't been problematic, but you had one the other day.
Yeah, you had one yesterday morning for sure. And that defensive back too. Keyshawn Nixon, he's still going to be your number 1. Brandon Cisse, outstanding pick. Your number 2 defensive back. Benjamin St. Juste, number 21, has done a nice job so far in camp. Carrington Valentine will probably make the cut. Kamal Hayden, who you just heard for, and Damani Jackson. Now, he had core muscle surgery, but they got him into that game the other night right away after just a couple practices. So those look like the guys. Guys like Jalen Simpson, who's made some plays, he might have to be, moved to practice squad. And then you got, these edge guys that are going after one another. And Baron Sorrell, number 99, is having a good camp in his second year and filling in now that Rashawn Gary has moved out and you're waiting for Micah Parsons to come back, along with Lucas Van Ness. He's covering Matthew Golden, and then after the whistle, they start punching. And these two guys were teammates at Texas, but yeah, he was punching Matthew Golden, who was punching him back, and Sorrell talked about it after practice yesterday.
It's just being competitive, man. Going out there playing football, things happen, emotions get high, and got into it a little bit. But that's my boy, and I'm his boy, so we're still cool. But it's football.
It's football. I get it. It's football. Then you've got, obviously the fights and such that do take place during these, joint practices. We've seen some just Donniebrooks break out. I guess that's one of your biggest concerns is, one, you're going to want to get your work done. You want to get it done in a good environment against real competition, but you also have to have an eye as a head coach on to what's happening with your guys.
Did you see the tape of the Saints and Cowboys brawls?
Yes, that's exactly what I was looking at.
I swear to God, but Jerry loves that, right?
Yep. Jerry loves it. Coaches don't.
No, but he loves it because look at the publicity he gets out of it. That stuff goes viral.
Right.
And here, they confiscate cameras when they've got that part. There's no tape of that fight, right?
Right.
I mean, by the way, tomorrow's practice is at 11:30. They moved it up an hour. But it's Mike LaFleur, Matt's younger brother by about 6 or 7 years, and his first job as a head coach in the NFL with the Cardinals against the Packers in a joint practice session. And so then Matt LaFleur said, all right, now you talk this over with your brother. What are the rules if there's any fights going on during the joint practice session with the Cards and your brother, Mike LaFleur?
If there is an issue in practice and the whole world can see it, you're going to be limited or not at all playing in the game. The second part of that is if there's an issue, I'm going to tell the guys, hey, you come tag me in. They can tag in my brother, and we'll throw down on the 50.
There you go. Tag his brother. I'd love to see that, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. So joint practice tomorrow at 11:30. And then, lots of press conferences going on. It'll be packed. It's the last practice open to the public for this season, for this training camp, and then the game on Friday night. And then I'll leave you with one other note. Well, here's one little note. I've got pages of notes from this Broncos game. It's a really good preseason evaluation. And that's this. Here's what I like about attitude on the Packers defense right now. Zaire Franklin, your guy, your 30-year-old inside linebacker you picked up for the Colts. So the ball carrier, the whistle blows, Paul's dead. This is in the game Friday night against the Broncos. Ball carrier gets up. He's carrying the ball. It's kind of moving over to the referee. And the ball's just sort of hanging like a loaf of bread there around his waist. Zaire comes from behind and takes the tops of his fingers and pushes the ball out of his hand. So it ends up on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that 2 or 3 times. The receiver gets up. DB, I couldn't quite tell what his number was. He gets up from behind, swats the ball out of his hand. It's on the ground. Just this little annoying get into your head thing. It's not really like a Packer thing.
Right.
But I'll be looking for that some more, particularly in these preseason games or in the joint practice. They get up, these defenders, this Jonathan Gannon defense, they get up, they tip the ball out of the guy's hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a little badass instigation. That never hurt anybody.
Well, I talked to one of the veterans of the team. I said, is this a thing? And he just smiled and said, ball control, man. Ball control.
Yeah. I'd like to see him do it more during the play rather than after, but absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. If you do it before the whistle, that's sort of what we're looking for.
Exactly. The turnovers have been few and far between. What else, Mike? Anything else before we let you go?
That'll do it.
All right, man. Take it easy, and then we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thanks, Bill.
See you, bud. There you go. Mike Clemens joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. Yeah, I'd love to see them knocking the ball to the ground a little bit more during the play rather than after the play. Just me, but just a thought. Just a thought. Good stuff from our guy, Mike Clemens. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a little bit more to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Social House. Social House and Highwater Pub and Grill. Both places fantastic. Social House right there on West Lisbon Road. Yeah, Menominee Falls, Brookfield, terrific food, great place, great environment. They got the bocce ball courts now, the pickleball courts now. They've expanded the parking lot. Fantastic. Highwater Pub and Grill on Delafield Road, out in Oconomowoc, or Summit, as they like to call it. That's got the outdoor seating. You're right there near the lake, near Upper Nemaben Lake. Go to highwaterbarandgrill.com to see everything they have to offer. The socialhouse.pub. The Social House, HAUS.pub for all the goings on at the Social House. 2 great places, 1 great set of owners. We'll see you at both of them. So we'll wrap it up. Coming up next on The Bill Michaels Show.
This is The Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show, wrapping things up before we get out of here. Hey, tomorrow on the program, I don't know where guest-wise, but tomorrow we're going to give away some IndyCar tickets, parking passes, all that kind of good stuff to the IndyCar weekend upcoming at the Milwaukee Mile this weekend. Going to be a good time down there. So there you go. Good stuff. Also, I know there's a lot of people heading out to the Wisconsin Dells this weekend. It's Bike Week, the Midwest Motorcycle Bike Week. And stop in to see our friends over at Bobber's Island Grill. Bobber's Island Grill. I got a lot of friends that are going over there this weekend. And Bobber's, we were supposed to do some stuff with them, and it just kind of got away from us. But I promised them I would. I just said, hey, you guys are doing a great thing. You're putting together all kinds of different stuff for Bobber's Island Grill. But, man, we would love to promote them and just say, hey, good luck with Bike Week. Good luck with Bike Week in the Dells. That's a great thing. I know there's a lot of people going out there this weekend family-wise because this is their last opportunity before the kids go back to school. But also you got motorcycles taking over Bike Week. There you have it. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, time for us to go. We'll get back at it again tomorrow, and we're really looking forward to it. Until we talk again 20 hours from now, it is time for us to get out of here.